Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing transmission. This is your host, Mr. BDA. Always glad to have you on board. And alongside with me, my co-host, King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Now, you guys know the drill. If you want to join us up here in the One True North, send us an instant message via the email address on top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That is boxingdebate@hotmail.com. Don't forget, you can check out these podcasts on Spreaker. You can download them there. Don't forget to check out our Patreon page, where you can make small tips. Also here via the super chat feature to get that infamous call-in show that we've been trying to get off the ground. And also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I don't think I need to remind you of that. Alright, let me tell you something. I'm gonna be putting the fan on here in my room here at the BDA quarters in a couple of minutes, because it really is. Even though it's not as humid as it was this past week here in Canada, it's still pretty hot, and I don't want to be sweating my ass off while I'm talking here.
I'm dying in this fucking country-ass fucked up town.
Well, I'm not exactly dying, but I mean, it can get rather uncomfortable after a while. Bucho, it's been a while since we haven't been on, and again, that goes back to the humidity that we were experiencing here in Canada and in most parts of North America as well. I know Recognize the Matrix last week said that in New York it was pretty humid. Let me tell you something. It felt like 45 degrees on Thursday. You didn't even have to work out very hard to get a sweat on. You just had to skip rope a little bit or jump up and down on your toes. And boy, it was humid. Now it's back to, you know, regular summer temperatures. Bucho, people are celebrating. Dr. Steelhammer is celebrating in the chat room. He says Croatia. Spoilers for anybody that's not aware, but Croatia just beat Russia in a penalty shootout. Bucho, Russia won their last match via penalty shootout, and then they stretched themselves again to the penalty. Suffice to say, they weren't going to get very far, right? Even if they had won this penalty shootout.
Yeah, they weren't gonna go far. I mean,
farther. They did pretty well for a relatively weak team, right?
I mean, people were expecting them to stop at the group stage. So, I mean, they beat Spain. That's pretty amazing. Nobody expected that. So, yeah, they did better than what the expectations were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they exceeded expectations, and good for them. Now, Bucho, last week I don't think you were away, but did you ever get a chance to see Gilberto Ramirez's fight against what was the guy's name? Romer Alexis Angulo, something like that?
Nope.
All right.
And I don't care. You told me it was a piece of shit, so why would I watch that?
You heard that?
I mean, I'll watch it eventually, but I'm not in a rush.
You did miss, and you don't have the only reason you would have to watch it is to really be aware of how, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth, how mediocre Gilberto Ramirez is. And listen, to get to the point where he's at right now, top 10 super middleweight, you have to be pretty good. But when you compare him to the rest of the super middleweights, and when you consider the fact that he's been, you know, relatively, what's the word I'm looking for here? Hyped up, overhyped by Top Rank, it really gives you an idea that he just doesn't belong in there. I'm not seeing him being this great fighter that, and now he's talking about he wants a unification. Let me tell you something. Let me break it down for you, Bucho. What Ramirez's main problem is, he can't find openings, or rather, he can't create them. He fought this guy. Hold on, let me look up the guy's name that he fought, because I want to get everything right here. Yeah, it was Romer Alexis Angulo from Colombia, 23-0 with 20 knockouts. Like, okay, it's impressive record, but you look at it and then you realize he hasn't fought anybody. He's 34 already, this Angulo guy, but he was able to make Ramirez respect him thanks to his power. And Ramirez got caught with a big, I think it was left hook or overhand right, and from that point on, the third round, he just did not want to engage. He was very reluctant, and I gotta say, I mean, like I've said, this guy, not exactly a world beater, Bucho. I don't see him going very far in this division unless he improves. What are your thoughts on guys improving? You think a boxer, especially one his age, he's what, 26, I think, or 20, you think he can improve, or it's he just
I
doesn't
think he
have
can
anything?
improve, and I think maybe if you, I mean, I don't know. This is just speculation, but maybe if you match him against some like a real opponent, he might step his game up. It's
Hmm.
as if you look at Billy Joe Saunders right before he fought Billy Monroe. Who did he fight? Is
Akavov.
well,
I think it was some guy,
yeah.
yeah, some Eastern
I mean, if
European
you
Akavov.
just take that fight and make a whole assumption about Billy Joe Saunders' career, I mean, where would that lead you? You know what I mean?
Very good point. A very good
Because
point.
after that, he had amazing performances, very good performances. So with Ramirez, I mean, yes, we're looking at this fight specifically, and we're making a huge assumption about his whole like where what his ceiling is, where he can go.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not saying he's a great fighter. I've never been impressed by this guy, by the way. You know what I mean? So don't get
Hmm.
me wrong. Uh, but I'm just saying, let's not go over the edge here with this fight. Let's match him up against a good opponent, and then we can determine how good he is.
Exactly.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's not go crazy. I mean, I've
Shit
always said that
flying in.
he's not a great fighter, by the way. So people are gonna be saying like trying to defend fucking
Nah, nah, I don't
Ramirez,
think
but
anybody's gonna
I'm
say it.
not. I'm not. I'm just saying it's possible that he's fighting at the level of his opponents.
Shit flying in my mouth.
Look, there was one guy he fought. He's not the last opponent before Jesse Hart, undefeated. He was too strong for Hart. He dropped him and all that. But then Hart made some adjustments and actually started making a comeback. And I mean, again, that like if you saw him against Alexis Angulo and he hadn't fought Jesse Hart, let's say the Hart fight never happened, and you watch Ramirez fight Angulo, you would think, wow, he can't beat Jesse Hart. But he did beat Jesse Hart. You know what I mean? So maybe you're right. Maybe it is something with the opposition. I tell you what, though, a nightmare style for him is somebody that can box, somebody that has good upper body movement, and who's not going to give him openings. He can't create them. That's his main problem. He cannot create openings. And, you know, guys like Mario Rito in the past, they didn't see an opening. Guess what? They just hit you wherever they could, and they would launch a torrent of activity. They was just inundate, what's the word I'm looking for? Drown you with activity. They would drown you with activity. Ramirez doesn't do that. Like, he's looking for the perfect shot, and at the highest level, just ain't gonna happen for him. Let me put up the rankings here, the super middleweight rankings. I love to do this with the super middleweights because there is some quality here, some rising quality. Bucho, you got Jurgen Brahmer, Chris Eubank Jr., Caleb Truax, Anthony Durrell, James DeGale, Uzcategui, Benavides, Callum Smith, Gilberto Ramirez, who really, after his last performance, they should really consider dropping him from number 2. And then you got George Groves number 1. You know what fight I would love to see him in against? And I think Recognize said this last week, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Ramirez. Because Chris Eubank isn't going to go anywhere. He's going to stand right in front of him. Although he does have relatively good upper body movement. That would be a good... Maybe put him in there against Caleb Truax, who has demonstrated the ability to pull off upsets. What do you think about that? Caleb Truax versus... what's his name? Ramirez.
Ramirez.
Yeah.
Good fight. Great fight.
Well, I wouldn't say great fight, but...
No, but it's a fight where we can determine how good Ramirez is.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think you're motivated when you fight nobodies, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a good point.
The whole division is moving forward. There's a final in the super middleweight division in the World Boxing Super Series tournament, and you are fighting who? You know,
Romer, Alexis Angulo.
I mean, I don't know. I don't find that very motivating.
By the way, Bucho, we got some people in the chat room. Shout out to Mr. Coxey, Boxing Style, Overhand, Dr. Steelhammer, Recognize the Matrix, Pavel. You want to start sending out a couple of invitations for our regulars? Do you want to start sending out some invitations there, Bucho?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, perfect. Thanks. Yeah, and people are talking about the World Cup in the chat room. Mr. Coxey says, Bucho, I agree. Neymar will stay in Paris. Nobody wants him in Barcelona. Is he on loan with Paris Saint-Germain? I didn't know that.
No, he was not. They bought him.
He's not longer. Since when? Since when isn't he with?
Man, you haven't been watching football, man.
I know that, but that's why I'm asking. Like, since when?
For a while now.
No kidding. Look at that.
Yeah.
Mr. Cox says final is France and Belgium. In my opinion, People, you got to remember, France and Belgium have a bit of a strained history. The French people look at Belgium, what Belgians, is that how you call people from Belgium? They look at the Belgians as just like hicks, a bunch of European hicks. So maybe Belgium has.
Where did you get that, man?
Isn't that true? Isn't what they say?
I don't know. I never heard that.
Yeah, the French people from France, they always make fun of people from Belgium.
Don't they make fun of everybody though?
Yeah, that's a good point. They make fun of everybody, and even though they call Pepsi, like when they want a soft drink, they call it Coca.
Oh God!
Est-ce que je pourrais avoir un Coca? It's like what? Coca? What is that? Coca. That's what they spell.
It's true.
Coca. Come on, get your act together, friends. You lost the war. You haven't redeemed yourself since then. It's time to join everybody else in the.
Well, they say they won it.
They say.
Weren't they at the negotiating table at the end?
I don't know, man. Jesus, what?
And I think a German general, whatever, said like, "What are you doing here?"
No kidding. Yeah, like, what are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here. We're fucking your women. Hitler's parading himself around Paris, looking at the Eiffel Tower. Hitler probably wanted to fuck the Eiffel Tower. And what were those people gonna do? What were the Frenchies gonna do? How were they gonna stop him? There you go. And that's not a beer, by the way. That's mineral water, cool mineral water to lower my temperature here because I'm getting a little hot under the collar, if you know what I mean. All right. Dr. Hillhammer says, Putin is now sending the Russian players to the Gulag. Nah, they played pretty well. I don't think this is a Saddam Hussein. Well, you remember, Bucho, there was a story that, I don't know if it's true or not, it's an urban legend, I hope it is, that Uday Hussein, or one of Hussein's sons, when Iraq lost a game or something, like he took all the players and he tortured them or something like that. You ever hear that?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, probably, but who's giving us this information? I mean, give it a break.
Are you saying you don't
American sources?
Are you taking a quote from Recognize the Matrix's page and saying you don't trust the media?
Exactly.
Now listen, let's fact check this. Saddam's son tortured defeated footballers, says the Telegraph back in 2000. After Effects, Reign of Terror. Soccer players described the torture, says the New York Times from 2003. So this happened apparently in the early 2000s. And all I'm seeing is all this, mainstream American publications. Let's not forget that they had planned to go to war with Iraq. It didn't start off in 2003, people. The planning started way before that. I can guarantee it. So why not demonize all these people as a bunch of jackasses, so that when they do decide to attack, all of a sudden everybody's going to be on board because, Hussein and his sons are a bunch of demons. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of preemptive propaganda right there. Overhand says, hey, Bucho's back. Yeah, Bucho, you were MIA for a while, man. You were MIA for a while. A lot on your plate, huh?
Drinking a lot.
No, come on. You didn't. You could have at least said. You could have at least said, well, I'm enjoying my summer, or I'm busy working.
Keeping it real, yo.
All right.
Keeping it real.
All right.
No, but it's been really hot here. I mean, 50 people died, man.
Yeah, but let's keep it into perspective here. It was 50 old people that already had other health issues along with the heat. It wasn't the heat alone that killed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but still they died, though. I mean, people were kidding. I went to the beach, whatever you want. It's not a beach, because we don't have beaches. But it's like a fake beach, let's call it. It's outside and shit. There's water, there's sand.
Where are you going?
And some guy fucking had a heat stroke, passed out. They had to evacuate the whole fucking thing. It took like 30 minutes. Nobody could go into the water for another 30 minutes. It was crazy, man. Yeah, so
didn't he suffer a heat stroke in the water?
That's what I heard.
So how do you get heat stroke in the water? You're in the nice cool water. How do you get heat stroke?
I don't know. These people don't drink water. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these people. I mean,
you know what really happened?
Do you have in Mexico, man? I mean, seriously.
You know what
drink
really?
Some fucking water, man.
All right, Bucho, you know what really happened, right?
What?
The guy was drunk. And then when they took him out, he realized he was drunk and he was embarrassed, so he had to make up the whole thing like, oh, I think I suffered heat stroke.
I'm really drunk. Really, I am. I'm out of my head.
Yeah, he was a fucking drunkie. I guarantee it.
For sure.
Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Mark Funk in the chat was a Stipe Miocic. I always forget how to fucking say this guy's name. Just got buffed by Croatia. Yeah, because he's of Croatian origin. He's going to be defending against the very tough Daniel Cormier. We're talking about MMA here. So I'm looking forward to that one. We were supposed to get, let's get into the boxing, people. We were supposed to get Jose Ramirez taking on, what was his name? Danny O'Connor? Is that the guy's name? Ramirez, very tough guy, come forward fighter, left hooks to the body, really the type of style you want to see, must see TV. Then Danny O'Connor comes in and he gets hospitalized for dehydration. I mean, this guy, listen, Butcher, we go back to the same subject. These guys need to start fighting in their own divisions. Can we agree on that?
Oh, I thought you cut off. Yes, they have to fight each other.
What?
I mean, they have to start fighting, yeah.
You need to start listening, just like they need to start fighting in their own divisions. Let me tell you something. Jose Ramirez, very good fighter. Unfortunately, he's not going to fight. If it's any consolation, we do still have Egidijus, what's his name? Kavaliauskas. Jesus, how can I spell his name? Hold on a second. Egidijus Kavaliauskas, who's going to be taking on the very tough Juan Carlos Abreu. Juan Carlos Abreu, it's going to be a 10-round welterweight fight. Kavaliauskas wants to establish himself as one of the top guys in the division. Are you familiar with Kavaliauskas, Bucho?
Not really.
Well, you might have seen him beating up David Avanesian. Avanesian is the Armenian fighter, or Armenian American, I don't know how you want to call it. And he stopped Avanesian, who Avanesian, by the way, went 12 rounds or 10 rounds with Lamont Peterson, put up a very good fight. And then Kavaliauskas just comes in and runs through him. Kavaliauskas is a very good fighter. He's only 29 years old, or 30 years old, soon to be, no, he's already 30 now. He's 30 years old, so time is starting to click a little bit. He's from Lithuania, very strong fighter, like I said, and he's going to be taking on Juan Carlos Abreu, who is from the Dominican Republic. Again, very tough fighter. He stopped Jesus Soto Corraz. He lost against Jamal James, who, I don't know if you guys know who Jamal James is, but he is a welterweight who measures 6'2". Very tall guy. I'm not ready to say he's the next Paul Williams, because he certainly doesn't fight like Paul Williams. He's not a southpaw. He doesn't throw as many shots at him, but he's a pretty tall guy. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at here is that Abreu is a very tough fighter. He's a come-forward fighter, 21 wins, 3 losses, 19 knockouts. He is going to bring it against Kavaliauskas, so that's going to be a pretty entertaining fight on ESPN. And we also have, like I said, the UFC card. But, oh, then again, Bucho, boxing is not the only sport that's suffering from postponed, canceled fights. On the undercard of the UFC event, you were supposed to get Brian Ortega, one of the top contenders at, I think, lightweight, I believe. And he was going to be taken on, what's his name, Max Holloway, is that? I always confuse Holloway with the other guy, the guy with the sunglasses on top. Anyway, Max Holloway, he started having concussion symptoms. He started displaying concussion symptoms during the build-up to the fight. They had taken him to the hospital one time, and they gave him some CAT scans, everything was fine. But then he returned to the press conferences and all that, you know, doing the media tour and all that, and people realized, okay, this guy's slurring his words. So finally, he's been hospitalized, I think, and that fight ain't gonna happen. The main event is still there, Cormier versus Miocic, or how do you say his name? Miocic, whatever. That's going to be a pretty good fight, but unfortunately the undercard not as stacked as it was before. Pavel says, check out Tyrone Jamal Quintavious Jackson III, a young hungry lion who is paving his way to the top. In the meantime, he makes smart investments. That's right, he's making that money. Go get that money, player.
Read my lips. Oh, man. You in the hood.
That's right. When you get out of the hood, you gotta go get that money. You get that money, sugar. Don't let nobody stop you. Right, Bucho?
Amen to those words.
All right. What else is going on here? So yeah, so that Ramirez fight ain't gonna happen. Too bad. Oh, by the way, there's this whole thing about Ramirez, because he used to be with Freddie Roach. I think when he beat Imam, he was with Freddie Roach, and then he switched over to Robert Garcia. Good old Robert Garcia. And there was some issues about why that happened, and Ramirez said, well, listen, Freddie Roach has a lot on his plate. He didn't have time for me, Ramirez is saying he didn't feel as if Roach was paying enough attention to him, and so that's why he switched over to to Robert Garcia. Butcher, do you think that stings Roach a little bit? Because, you know, him and Garcia haven't really gotten along all that well, especially since that confrontation from, what was it, 5 years ago? Where Alex Ariza, who was with Garcia's
that
camp,
kick?
The kick. Yeah.
Infamous kick. Who kicked him again? What's his name?
It was Ariza.
Ariza.
Alex Ariza, yeah.
Ariza, yeah. Probably not. No.
Yeah, there was a video of Garcia at Free Roach's gym during some sort of a press event, and they were talking and everything. So I think, yeah, it seems as if the hatchet has been buried, but I don't think. Listen, when a guy, you know, Garcia and Margarito were making fun of Roach's Parkinson's because Roach himself was saying that Margarito was shot, and so Garcia and Margarito and Brandon Rios decided to go way off and started making fun of him, and then you had the whole Ariza kicking Roach, and I'm pretty sure the situation, the strife isn't as bad between them as it used to be, but come on, I mean, it's going to take a while for those guys, especially since they compete against each other. I'm pretty sure they're not exactly best buddies, right?
No, I don't think so, man. You know what? I think Freddie Roach is kind of jealous of Robert Garcia, man.
Really? And what would you say then?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like Robert Garcia has been, you know, excelling as a boxing trainer. Like he's not. Who's his top fighter right now? His brother. You know what I mean? But he did a good job with Maidana. And where has Freddie Roach been lately? You know what I mean?
Well, like
what
Precise.
has he done? So I don't know. I had that feeling a few years ago. So.
Like Precise said in one of the podcasts, he thinks Freddie Roach is shot as a trainer, that he can no longer produce quality fighters, which is understandable considering he's got what was it now? Not Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease. And look, it's not easy being a trainer. At some point, you have a bunch of fighters. How can you if you spread yourself too thin, the performances are going to start hurting. Now, I know that Roach likes to delegate to that little Asian dude, little Chinese dude he's got running around with him. What's his name?
Jesus Christ.
What? Asian. He's okay. I said Chinese afterwards.
Chinese.
Nah, he's like, okay, let's get it right.
Jokes,
what's that?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know who's playing those sound effects.
Oh, I love tea. It's so good for you.
All right, hold on. What's going on here? What is going on?
Oh, the supercomputer.
It's Mammon 1000 who's. I'll tell you something. You know what I think it is? I think it's Gaia 500 is starting to corrupt. I said corrupt Mammon 1000, who was a nice computer with a nice British accent, and now all of a sudden it's giving me all these inappropriate sound bites. I don't like it, and I know you hate it, Bucho. I know you hate it. Apparently the guy's name is Marvin. Yeah, Marvin Sonsona, right? Is that the guy's name? Overhand says it's Marvin, but I think it is, I think, Sonsona. NJ Advanced Media says, you lack discipline.
Jesus, I didn't understand that message. It's like, what?
Yeah. Well, you get it now, right?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we got Joey Ocean in the chat room as well. Shout out to Joey Ocean, who has a very cool name. I think Joey Ocean. That's a good name.
Who the fuck is Joey Ocean?
Hey, Joey. Yo, Joey.
Joey Ocean.
Joey Ocean. Look who's here. Joey Ocean. All fresh and doing the town. Ooh, we got Recognize the Matrix on the line. Just drop in.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
Recognize, are you there?
What's going on?
Not much, man. Good to have you on board, as always.
Yes.
Listen, you told us last week, we were talking 9/11. It was a 9/11 retrospective, and you told us we were talking about the guy who cheated, who was cheating. He used to work at the World Trade Center, and he was cheating on his wife that day. He wasn't at the World Trade Center, and then 9/11 happened, and his wife called him, and the guy pretended to be at work, and of course that wasn't possible because it was the towers are already falling. So you told us that there was more to the story. Is that what you were intimating, or like what were you trying to say there, without revealing too much?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that like everybody that I worked with like knew the guy, and he was kind of like a big shot, and in the work that we do. So you know, it was kind of funny that it happened to him.
Oh,
Out of all people, and so this girl called in at a radio station to reveal this.
no kidding. So that's how.
Yeah, that's how people. Well, you know, somebody heard it, right? Someone heard it. One of the mechanics heard it that used to work at the World Trade Center. By the way, like that's just like when you're an elevator mechanic. That's more than likely one of his routes, not just the only route. That's one of the routes that this guy probably covered. And so I guess his wife called in, and she called at a radio station where like they expose cheaters, and apparently like I believe she recorded it. She actually recorded the conversation that they had.
Oh,
I don't know how she did that, but she reported the aftermath of the conversation, like him calling back and like, babe, I'm sorry.
Oh, you cunt!
What a cunt.
So it was epic.
Well, you know what
Epic.
Christian was that?
It was epic.
I wouldn't say epic. See now, okay, maybe the guy thought he was a big shot or whatever, but I don't believe in either envy or jealousy. And remember what Proverbs 27:4 says: wrath is cruel, cruel is anger, and anger is overwhelming. But who can stand before jealousy? That's a little nugget of wisdom from Christian BDA right there. I also see that we have Pavel on the line, and who's that? Who's the other dude? Is that Stu?
Stu.
Oh, he's changed his avatar right there.
Wait.
I wasn't back. I told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
What's happening, boys?
Good, Stu.
Hello,
good to have you back, and good to have you, Pavel. Pavel, I think for your introduction, I think for Pavel's introduction,
I've just broke my bloody foot 2 days ago, so I'm sitting here with one of them fucking boots that looks like it was designed by NASA. Can't move anywhere. So, fucking Adam.
it's usually not a good idea to break your foot, man.
Yeah, I fucking broke my foot, so I'm on painkillers. So if I come off early, then you know why, because they've worn down, because I'm in fucking agony.
Wait a minute. Weren't you using painkillers even before the broken foot?
No.
Oh, okay. And by the way, Pavel,
Stu, you must be happy England won today, huh?
Oh.
Yeah, over the moon. Over the moon. I mean, fucking. I expected us to do well. I said that in the show we did. I expected it, but obviously, I didn't expect us to get to the semis, and it's opened up very well for us. Let's be real. We've had a lot of luck. With where the fixtures have gone, but it's not our fault that Spain can't win a fucking game. Germany can't win a game. If they'd done their business, we'd have had to face these teams. So you can only beat what's in front of you. I mean, Croatia's going to be a very, very tough game, but Croatia were on they were tired. They was on their last legs tonight. I mean, I think they're going to be really, really weary in the semi against England, and I think that could be our chance because I mean, they had 2 penalty shootout wins that's gone into extra time in that sort of tension as well, with that sort of pace of the game. I mean, Croatia have got to come again, and I think it's going to be very hard for them. So I think we've got a very good chance of getting to the final. I think we might come a bit short when it comes to Belgium or France, but you never know with football.
Now, let me ask you this too. Let's say England wins the World Cup. Are you going to release... Are you gonna release your man-eating pigs and start roaming the city? Is that what you're gonna start doing?
Oh, mate, fucking hell! If England win the World Cup, mate, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I've not even thought about it. Let's be real. I mean, this is the thing about this tournament. I've not got excited like previous tournaments where I think, yeah, we can win it, and we go out to Iceland and fucking shit like that. Do you know what I mean? But this year, I've just kept it calm. Even I'm not even nervous during the games, which I usually are. I've just kept it calm, and the results have been flying in. So I don't know what's going to happen if we win the World Cup. I think we might come a little bit short, but you never know.
Well, there you have it. I mean, England making it to the semifinals for the first time since Bucho. What did you say?
1990.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And we should have won. And we should have won that game. To be honest with you, the Germans were very lucky that day.
Ah, come on. By the way, I saw a pig flying the other day. I think it has something to do with the fact that England won at penalties for the first time. I mean, my goodness gracious. Good for them.
The first time for everything. I mean, yeah. Obviously, I've deserved a bit of good news. Like, obviously, things have been going quite bad for me lately. So England have cheered me up, and they've given me something to smile about.
Well, there you go. It's that's the magic of the World Cup.
As for the boxing, boys, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I mean, is anything happening? I mean, I didn't watch the Ramirez fight. I missed it, but I heard he was very lackluster.
Oh,
you know.
Like Pavel, what you said, waste of time, right? Don't even watch it. Is that what you said in the chat?
That's correct.
I mean, first of all, with Pavel, your introduction, I'm working on it. It's gonna be something with like the theme from either Halloween or Friday the 13th, because I think that represents you to a T. Corruption in Boxing last episode in the chat room was saying that he saw you. He thinks he saw you climbing the Empire State Building with a bunch of skeletons and skulls in a hacky sack in the back. I mean, he says essentially he's saying you're a serial killer. Are you indeed a serial killer?
Who, me?
No, Pavel.
I think he's talking about me.
I'm talking about Pavel. Come on.
Well, you can never tell, I guess. But it was really flattering, the comparison. Thank you, Corruption in Boxing. I really appreciate it.
Other people were saying that you might be a vampire, and that theory I do think has some legs stand on, because I think about it. We've never seen you outside during the day. You're always in a room with a hoodie on, and it's completely dark, and it's always at night. So what's going on here, Pavel? Are you a vampire? Are you the undead?
No, because right now it's like 12 p.m. In Poland, so maybe that's why 12. Yeah, 12 p.m. Because it's pretty dark. So
but to be honest with you, Pavel has got that Transylvania accent as well, and he can't Dracula.
There's a difference between Poland and Romania. It's not the same. Just because they're in Europe. Yeah, but
we both have gypsies.
We both have gypsies.
Yeah.
All right, so Pavel,
apparently the ones in Romania, right? They're actually from India, aren't they? They're not European. They're Romanian.
They are. Yeah. It's not like you have Irish travelers. They are called gypsies as well, but they're different groups of people, really.
Yeah.
All right, so Pavel, we are gonna need some footage of you walking around in the sunlight in order to feel comfortable, because right now people think you're a vampire, and it's a little, it's a little freaky. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. All right.
What am I supposed to do? Like create a fucking vlog or something during the day?
Absolutely, yeah. Just walk around during the day. Don't bite anybody, and that you should be fine. We should take your word for it.
No, I'm just afraid that my skin is going to get burned, during the sunlight.
Don't do it, Pavel. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to change the subject, guys, but I've just seen advertised on my TV that Usyk Gassiev has made. It's on ITV Box Office in the UK, so they're charging us. That's a pay-per-view fight in the UK. I mean, that's a great fight. Don't get me wrong, a world-class fight. But I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know if I want to pay for it. This is the thing about this World Boxing Super Series. It's good for boxing, but us UK fans are getting stung with pay-per-view. I mean, fucking George Groves versus fucking.
Because you guys buy anything. Because you guys buy anything. Let's be honest.
No, we don't.
When it comes to boxing, it's the second biggest sport in your country.
And you burn it on yourselves. You buy every fucking fight, man.
They would do the same thing in America if it was the second biggest sport.
Exactly. Yeah.
They would.
Yeah, but you got to have a bit of fucking standards. What you can charge for. You know what I mean? Fuck's sake.
I know.
That's some fucking
No,
standards.
listen, I'm not being tight with the Usyk Gassiev. The likelihood is I'm going to buy it, but I've got my nose put out a little bit to buy it. You know, this is two Russians fighting. Well, Ukraine and a Russian, and I don't see it as being a pay-per-view fight in the UK. I just.
Yeah, you agree.
Well, how much
I don't
is it, though? Is it the same price for like a Joshua fight? No.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay, then I don't know.
Yeah,
Joshua was a rip-off then.
But you know, Eubank versus the Turk. What was his name? I forgot his name now. Yes, Yildirim. That was pay-per-view.
What? My goodness! I'll tell you something. That is absolutely. Who's the promoter again of the World Boxing?
Callum Smith versus the fucking the kickboxer was pay-per-view. They're charging us for all of them. I know. So when this 140 division comes along, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do that because Josh Taylor is actually I think he's got a deal with Channel 5, so I don't know how they're going to do that. Obviously, he's going to be fighting on ITV box office again, but they're going to charge us for every one of these fights. It's going to get expensive, these super series.
Well, Stu, are you going to pay for the zone?
I don't think we can we? I don't know. What is the fucking zone? This is it. You talk to a guy that's not really into the internet apps and shit. So I don't really want to be watching boxing on my phone. I don't. So, I mean, can you get it on your computer? I don't know how you do it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if you can get it on your phone, I'm pretty sure you can get it on your computer. But then again, that's $5. I don't know how much that's going to be.
I want to watch it on my TV. That's what I bought my TV for.
Right, exactly. Well, there you go. But I mean, I don't know how they're going to pull this off. I don't even know if I'm going to pay for it. I mean, that's $5 on top of everything else you got to pay for. If you're buying the premium for HBO and all those movie channels, you're already paying $15 on top of your cable bill. Now you got to pay another $5, and plus you got to pay for ESPN Plus, which is where Crawford versus what's his name, Horn, and Pacquiao versus Matisse are going to be taking place. So it's starting to add up a little bit the cable bill and the TV bill.
It's all over the place now. It's all over the place. They say, oh, it's a great thing now because you can watch it on the phone and on the go. But now everything adds up. Like 5 here, 15 there. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, and when you see how much I have to pay, I mean, I pay a small fortune for my Sky, and it's just getting too much. I mean, Box Nation. I don't know what they're charging you for. I mean, if you want to watch Liam Walsh v fucking Liam Smith for the 50th time, then subscribe. Do you know what I mean? But what they're putting no fights on.
I was subscribed to Box Nation, and it's like, I don't know about the big fights, but I bought a monthly subscription for Canelo-GGG.
Yeah,
and it costed me like €13 per month.
Yeah, that's what it is.
For Frank Warren is really overpriced.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I mean, to be honest with you, you can't have a subscription channel, right? Where your subscribers are paying for basically nothing in return, and then when you get a good fight, you charge pay-per-view for it. So, I mean, how ridiculous is that?
It's absolutely.
So Frank Warren, I tell you what, to be honest with you, I think Frank should call it a day. The guy's he's just got no new ideas. He's stuck in his old ways. He's got no new ideas. He brings nothing new to boxing. He doesn't make very good fights. He fucking hypes up bums.
Oh, come on.
I mean, what is there to be positive about for Frank Warren? I mean, anything you can say positive about Frank Warren is that the man's fucking. Well, you can't kill the guy. He's like immortal. Like
bullet to stony hair.
Yeah, like so he's Boris from Snatch, isn't it? You know what I mean? You just
for anybody that doesn't get the reference, was that?
No,
yeah, I was going to say that's all the respect he needs. He took a shot to the head. I mean, the guy's still alive. I respect him.
Man, let me tell you something.
Yeah, but I think that bullets must be still in his head and clouding his judgment when it comes to making fights. Because the fucking guy, man.
No, I love this. I love his statement from what you guys said. You know, it's like, nah, don't worry about it. I know who did it. Like afterwards, that's the best.
He's old school, man. He's got a code.
I know this.
He's an old school East London boy from where the Crays and all that are from. There's a street code. There's a street code in all areas of the planet, and East London's one of them where you just don't grass to the police. You'd probably get shot again if you did grass. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just Warren's old school.
Listen, if you're in England, you already won. You got those fry-ups, you got the beautiful weather. So why would you want to die with everything there is to enjoy in England? Now, speaking of England, I'm looking at the Box Nation website here. All right, first of all, we have upcoming fights. Shumenov versus Altunkaya. That already happened, I think, earlier today. Then next week at 2 in the morning over there in England, Pacquiao versus Matisse. And then Williams versus Doherty. I don't even know who this guy Doherty or Williams is. He looks rather unkempt with those Rasta threads, or not Rasta threads. I don't know what you would call those. That haircut. But that's about what they have there. I mean, all right, Pacquiao, Matisse, good. Diaz versus Ito, and again, I don't Clark versus Joy. So a lot of domestic fights out there, which is good. You get to keep up with them. But is it worth it? 12 pounds. I mean, 12 pounds, 12 euros. Yeah, 12 pounds, which is about, I don't know. So, Pavel, you were saying that you discontinued paying for that service. Is that correct?
Yeah, after 1 month.
And if, let's say they lowered the price to, I don't know, 8 pounds or maybe 5, would that be an acceptable price for the type of product that they put out? Or even then you would be like, fuck no, I'm not paying any amount of money for this?
Oh Jesus Christ, I have no idea really. Probably not, because I'm gonna stream fights, and in Europe, especially in the middle part of Europe, it's quite late when you get fights, big fights in the Vegas or in New York. So I just usually watch it the day after, really, if it's not that big of a fight. So I think it's just not worth it for me.
Well, echoing your sentiments is AA Boxing and Blunts, and he says, I canceled my Box Nation, but I might get it for a few MTK shows, but it's not worth the money. I only pay 10 euros for BT, which apparently is stepping their game up and dipping their toes into boxing as well these past couple of weeks, I believe, or maybe even more. So, and you get to watch the UFC pay-per-view events as well with BT Sports. So that's a pretty good deal right there. All right, so who's calling Stu a pleb? Oh, that's Steven Schneider. He's saying, Stu is the man. Watch your goddamn tongue, pleb. What does that mean? He's speaking the truth. I don't.
So, someone could call me a low life grass. Someone said I was a low life grass.
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
It means I'm an informer. But obviously, anyone that knows me knows I've seen things that could put people in prison for a long time. And let's be real. That's one thing I've never been. That's what I mean. That's one thing I've never been. But this guy don't know fuck all about me. I mean, he calls himself Sector, for fuck's sake.
yeah. Don't type of people, because I've always imagined Stu like a part of a gentry, owners with the, they own a lot of real estate properties and all that. And, you can be an alpha through the internet, but if somebody has the capability of buying out your whole family and village, then who's the alpha now?
Oh
yeah, and like where I live, there's not a lot of activity around here. I mean, you'd go missing around here, no one would know you was even here, if you get what I'm saying.
No kidding.
Can make somebody
be careful.
For your life.
Be careful who you call informer, Sector.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Jeez, I didn't know they took it that seriously over there, or serious over there.
Now, he must be a Frank Warren fan. He probably got upset because I was.
Yeah, man. That's. I was gonna say.
I mean, so Frank's got one fan then.
There's no such thing. Warren. There's no such thing as a Frank Warren fan. And by the way, I know what a pleb means. I didn't know what a grass. What do you call you? A grasser or grass?
Say grass. I think that's what Stu said. Grass.
Grass. That term I had never heard before. That's like calling somebody a tree or a plant or a rosemary. Like what type of fucking insult is that? All right, wait a minute. Who dropped off? Oh, okay, everybody's still there. And again, we got Pavel not on the screen right there, smoking in a dark room. We only see the outline, a little bit of a brief outline of his face.
Not a dark room. I'm on the balcony, man. It's fucking dark out
You
there.
really trying to really reinforce that what people are saying, that you're a goddamn vampire, huh? You want people to think you're a night walker.
Whatever.
Hey, listen, between you and Precise, who admitted to drinking goat blood the other day, I mean, we're really starting to get ourselves a nice little crew of Nosferatus here, or what would be?
Shit, I gotta call Precise. You know, they found out. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're starting to find out, man. We know where this is going.
Stop with that music, man.
All right, listen, I'm not playing it. It's coming from probably from your end. How many virgins do you have locked up in there?
Of course.
All right. What else? Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you guys. Last week, again, the Ramirez fight. I mean, this guy, if we want to talk about it briefly, just to get... I think the story is out on Ramirez. The guy can't create openings. He doesn't look all that good. I don't think he deserves to be anywhere near the top 5 super middleweight in the world. Do you guys think he has a chance against any of the top 10 guys?
Well... How long have I been saying this for? I mean, me and Precise got into a little ding dong about it, didn't we? We had a little bit of an argument. Well, not an argument, but we got into it about Ramirez. I just don't think this guy has moved on. I mean, I don't see what Precise thought he was the best guy in the division. I just didn't see that. I mean, it's all well and good looking good and explosive against bums. I mean,
exactly.
It's when you step up. When you step up to the world elite level, and when you're doing it to world class fighters, that's when you can start saying the guys are the best in the division. But for me, I mean, who's this guy's best opponent? I'm trying to think.
Jesse Hart. That's probably his best opponent.
It says it all. It says it all, doesn't it?
But I think that Angulo gave him problems. I thought he gave him problems in that fight. I know the scorecard was wide, but you know.
He should have entered that tournament and made a name. It's all right saying Bob Aaron has got other plans for him. What plans? What plans has he got for this guy? Because I'm not seeing these plans. I'm just seeing him fight bums in small arenas, bringing no excitement to the card sort of thing. So, I mean, that tournament would have been perfect for him. It might have brought the best out of Ramirez as well. Ramirez might be one of them fighters that when he's actually fears a fight, you might get the best out of him.
Yeah.
So.
I have a feeling the same things too. I have a feeling that's more likely. He's one of those guys that get better with the competition. You know, I'm not saying he would win. I'm not saying he would win, but you know,
the problem with Ramirez, he can go down that Callum Smith route where you fight so many bums where you're looking good, but then you start going stale. And you can't go up the gears because you're just used to being in second gear all the time, and that could be very dangerous for a fight. That's why you got to move these guys along. Eddie Hearn does the right thing with a lot of these young fighters. He after a few good wins, he's stepping them up. Frank Warren's got Yard. He's going down, isn't he? Yard will fight someone, win, and then his next opponent will be worse than the guy he beat before, sort of thing. And that's not the way you build up a fight. Yard's starting to look sloppy. He's looking worse for me. He's getting worse, and that's because he's not in a fight where he's scared, where he has to train properly, where he's looking at the shots and he's using his brain. He's just going in and think this guy's gonna. All I got to do is hit him, and it's over. And you can get stuck in that mindset. And I think Ramirez could be getting in that Callum Smith, Anthony Yard mindset where you're just fucking constantly fighting bums and you can't step up the gears when you need to.
Well, Bucho said he believes Ramirez is a type of guy that's going to be fighting either up to his competition or down to his competition. I haven't been impressed with him, Ramirez, obviously, in a while now. I don't know. I don't think he deserves to be in that top 10 division. I mean, I don't think he deserves to be number 2. Top 10, yeah, maybe. And like we said, Bucho and myself were talking about that. I think a perfect fight to see where he's at right now is to put him in there against Caleb Truax, because Truax, other than the upset against DeGale, he has lost to the best guys he's fought. We're talking Jermaine Taylor, Durrell, Daniel Jacobs. So if Ramirez can stop him just like those guys did, then that would mean that, okay, Ramirez is at least on.
I much prefer the other fight you mentioned, the Eubank fight. This guy's got to step up, man. Caleb Truax is useless. Let's be real. I mean, that night he beat James DeGale. I think most of the top guys would have beat James DeGale that night. So I just think he needs to step up, man. Chris Eubank would be a perfect fight. I mean, if it tells us where Eubank is as well, because if he gets schooled by Ramirez, then he might as well hang him up.
What do you think about Ramirez? What do you guys? Sorry about that, Stu. What do you guys think about, like, I guess anybody can answer this. Ramirez being, I think he's listed at 6'3" and fighting at 168. Do you think maybe he needs to move up in weight?
He already said that on ESPN Spanish. He said that he's struggling to make weight and he wants to move up.
Yeah.
But if he moves up, I mean, I think it's.
Yeah, right.
He's gonna struggle, man. Jesus Christ.
No, hey, mate, if I was Gilberto Ramirez, mate, I'd be taking laxatives to stay in that 168 division.
That's got to be hard when you're. I don't know. To me, it's just got to be hard when you're that tall, 6'3", 6'2", fighting at 168. As you're getting older, that's got to be tough.
Well, look, I mean, the guy, if he can't make 168 anymore, and then he's starting to become a bit of a weight bully, and even then, his strength isn't really playing a factor. So maybe it could work out both ways. Maybe if he moves up, he will be stronger. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why that's like why I posed the question, is because some guys, when they go up in weight, I'm not sure 7 pounds will make a huge difference, but maybe just having to cut a little bit less weight gives him more strength, gives him more confidence to do more things, because he just seems so basic. I thought Angulo was stronger than him in a lot of time, in a lot of that fight. It looked like to me that he was the stronger guy. I thought he lost. I thought Angulo definitely lost, but
if he wants to be in that 175 division and he's getting outmanned by 168 guys, I mean, it just doesn't look good for him. I mean, is he too flabby? I mean, there's being too big for a weight and being too flabby for a weight. I mean, which one is it? Because that guy going up to 175 is a disaster.
Yeah,
that's true.
You know what, guys? We can talk about getting your physical strength up when you move up a division, right? But the thing is, the talent, the ability, the skill of other 175ers is just so high. Guys like Kovalev or Bivol, I think Gilberto Ramirez would get just slaughtered by them. He's just too. He doesn't. What I noticed about him, he doesn't set up his offense on the sufficient level to compete with the top dogs in the 175. He just, when he throws a jab, he just throws it like without any purpose, not to find out any data about the opponent, not to find out any habits that they might have. He's just a real basic fighter, like Recognized said before, and I just don't think that the skill level is enough for Ramirez to compete on a level playing field with the other guys. It's just, physicality is one thing, I agree, but at the highest echelon of boxing is just, for me, skill is the deal breaker.
I agree, man.
I mean, James DeGale vacated his title as well, so there's a belt up for grabs in that division. Ramirez should be trying to win it.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to reiterate what Pavel said. It's really the skills with Ramirez, because if he was a bigger guy and he could pull off a Jared Hurd, which is to just walk through guys and get really close to them and work them over, that would be one thing. But he can't even do that. And at 175, maybe like Recognized says, maybe he does look stronger there and he's able to compete. But like Pavel said, the talent pool at 175 is actually deeper than the one at 168. So, I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on Ramirez, but suffice to say that I am not impressed with him, and he's not even all that entertaining to watch either, so I have to say I'm not a big fan of him. Now,
when you look at Badu Jack, when he went up, I mean, Badu Jack was a big guy, strong guy at 168. He went up, and he was feeling them punches. I mean, big time, especially the body shots. I mean, them 175 guys, there's a lot of them are like cruiserweights, let's be real.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, you look at Sullivan Barrera, man, that guy, he looks like he's
Stevenson's got to be nearly a cruiserweight.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That guy's you look at his back. He's built like a cinder block.
He's got a gorilla's back, isn't he? It's like a gorilla, man.
Well, I didn't-
I know where Stevenson gets all that reach from. Look how fucking wide his goddamn back is, man. It's like his arms. His arms are like super long. God damn. He could definitely go up to cruiserweight. I mean, he's probably too old now, but he wouldn't. He could probably fight at 200 easily.
Well, now you guys were mentioning DeGale as well, James DeGale. Well, you heard that what happened there, right? That he vacated the title, like Stu said, and some people are saying that's because he was afraid of fighting his mandatory Uzcategui. Do you guys blame him for? Yeah. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you think he knew what was up? He knew the jig was up, and he.
I mean, James DeGale doesn't look the same anymore. I mean, not that he was great before, but can you really see even DeGale putting the performance he did against, let's say, Andre Durrell? Do you think he could do that again? It doesn't look like he could. Right? It doesn't even look like he's capable of that performance, especially after Bottle Jack, the Bottle Jack fight. He looks terrible now. You know,
I've been hearing that he's vacated so he can fight Billy Joe Saunders.
No,
Yeah, because he's with Frank Warren, isn't he, DeGale?
But let me ask you: is he going down in weight to fight?
No, Billy Joe's going up. I think Billy Joe's struggling at one. He's struggling to make 160. That's what I think.
I think he's struggling to make 168. To be honest, because he looks like he gained so much weight, man.
Now, of course,
I don't think his heart's in the game, mate. I don't think his heart's in it.
That's the one thing I never understood. How are these guys, like, they fight at a certain weight class, they let themselves go up like 20 pounds over that, and some of them even more, you know? For the life of me, I can never understand that.
And the thing is, they don't look in good shape either. They look flabby, and it's like they've not. It's like after the fight, they don't see a gym for months, pick a weight up or anything.
That's what it's got to be, Stu. That's exactly what it is. It has to be that as soon as they fight, you know, and the fight is over with, and they collect their check, they're like, "Look, I'm gonna relax. I'm not gonna touch anything. I'm not gonna see a gym for a while. They just eat, they gain weight, and then by the time it comes to cutting weight, you know, they're already signing a fight. So they got to cut weight and then sharpen up their skills."
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the top guys, I mean, they're in the gym the next day after a fight. So if it's an easy fight, do you know what I mean? They're just constantly in the gym, and a lot of fighters fight for money. Let's be real. A lot of fighters don't fight for pride or for Hall of Fame status. They fight for money, and Billy Joe Saunders is in that bracket. He's made a lot of money, and I just don't think he's hungry to fight anymore. I mean, I think if Canelo or Golovkin come along, then he'd take it, but I think he's looking for a couple more fights now. I think he's out. I just don't see him staying around in boxing for too long. The guy, he's pulling out fights left, right, and centre. He's not getting fights made. Let's be real. I mean, who is he fighting next? We can't even tell you. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know with him.
That brings me to my
next.
next.
How much money has Billy Joe Saunders made, though? I mean, what are his biggest fights?
He's made a lot of money because he was sensible with his money. You know, buying land and property and that lot is. And other things, I should think. And other things. The black market. But
I think for a gypsy stars too. I think for a gypsy, he's made enough money, to be honest. You know,
I think he just wants to go on a caravan and get the fuck out. Let's be on the road.
Real, he paid 270 grand for his Lamborghini, so he must have a few quid.
Jesus.
Like,
that's £270,000. So what's that? That's like fucking what, $350,000 or something, probably more. So he's got a few quid if he can spend on the car.
But it seems like his career is completely incomplete yet. I mean,
completely incomplete.
What, the Eubank Jr. fight? Seriously, that's the apex of nah, man. There's so many fighters coming in here. That 160 division is getting so hot right now, and he just wants to bounce. I don't get it.
Sorry. David Lemieux sailing off into the sunset after beating David Lemieux. It's not impressing me. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I sense a little bit. You know what, guys? Like regarding just going back to James DeGale, I think of the guy as the bootleg Andre Ward, because those two guys. One thing that they have in common is that they are straight up amateur fighters. They are point scorers. The difference between James DeGale and Andre Ward is that Andre is way smarter than DeGale in terms of his boxing IQ and his ability to adapt to certain situations in the ring, right? But it's just that DeGale has some offense, but it's so limited that he just gets hit way too often. And Andre Ward would be the same if he had shit tier defense. He just smothers fighters, clinches a lot, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he's going to be kind of like a gatekeeper at 168 if he continues to fight.
Well, I mean, I do agree. Go ahead, recognize.
No, I was just gonna say I agree because he just seems worse. I think that Stuart said it earlier. I think that Ramirez should try to make a fight with a James DeGale type. See if he that's going to be his test to see whether or not he's capable of advancing as a good fighter. If he can't beat a guy like that, like convincingly, who's like definitely on the downslide of his career, yeah, then that's how bad I think DeGale has declined. That at this point, it's a safe kind of test to see where you're at for Ramirez, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a very good fight to judge where you're at in the division. I mean, if you struggle with him, then you've got your work. Because I think DeGale's problem is, I think tough fights have caught up with him. Wars that he shouldn't have been in when he was sitting on the ropes taking bombs off European standard fighters. He is going to have problems when he's older with his speech and everything else, and it's a shame because he was a very talented guy. But when you sit on the ropes and let people punch you clean in the face, there's only so long before it starts slowing you down and everything else.
Well, listen, every time we talk about James DeGale, I have to put up my favorite photograph of his, the one that used to be on the front page every time you wrote his name out in Google. I don't know who came up with the idea of putting that photo there, but you can see it up there. He's turned into the bums. He looks like one of the bums he used to fight early on in his career. By the way, we got Jimmy from Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Oh, Jimmy.
I had a bad trip at a wedding in Maine, and it was a stormy night, right? I'm on LSD. Oh, I was fucking freaking out. It was horrible. I'll never take it again.
All right. Good to have you on board,
What's up,
Jim.
guys?
Not much. We're just
Can you hear
talking.
me good, am I? What's going on, gentlemen? How you been?
Fantastic,
Pretty
man.
good. How about yourself?
Good. Yeah, I heard you talking about DeGale. Problem with DeGale, with people who fight in that style, that it's the shoulder roll, slippery style. That's all reaction boxing. That's that slippery. You know what I mean? If you're not fighting a lot, because you know what I mean, it's you got to, everything's got to be timed, or you're just gonna work your balls off like Mayweather. You know where I stand on him, but that motherfucker trained like a psycho. Nobody could take that away from him, and he worked on his craft. But if you're not at that level, you got to at least fight a lot. And what happens, they make you slow down, get a little of that money, and that style wasn't conducive. And like Stuart said too, he just let too many people tee off on him. And then once you even lose it a little bit, well, prime example, you want to talk about how things can change just physically? I had a buddy, right, who got so big so quick on steroids, he kept fucking walking into door jams. Like he said, you don't pay attention because you don't think about it. When you walk by things, you just get used to your body being a certain way. So you just can, walk by things without clipping. He was knocking shit off shelves. His shoulders blew up, but it's the same way. Just that slightest thing can throw everything off. You know what I mean? And that style is not good once you start, showing your age.
By the way, speaking of the steroids, is it true that some guys, if they start getting too bulked up, they can't wipe their ass anymore?
I mean, fuck, you got to be kind of goofy. Just tuck under your balls, I would imagine. No, there's dudes who the dudes who can't go around, like they ain't going to do a reach around. No way. Right. Their backs are too big. They're going to have to squat and fucking lift up the sack. What's left of the sack? Because if you're juicing that hard, usually your berries are up inside you because there's no use, you know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
When you're taking all that extra testosterone, why should your body produce a little measly 6-7% a day?
I thought that was an urban
thousands
legend.
a month, so that's why they shut off. You take Clomid at the end, it turns them back on.
Right. I
can't wipe your ass anymore.
I thought.
You imagine that shit? You're so built. Oh, I can't even.
No, that's a good. You know what? That's fucking true. Actually, it's funny you met Dorian Yates. One of my all-time favorites. A fucking dude from London. Greasy fucking bodybuilder from the 90s, man. He was a big dude. Right. Yep, he talked about it. He said, man, I realized I got big when I couldn't reach around and wipe my ass anymore. Jeez. And he was a power lifter first, so that's why his body was so dense. But, yeah.
He's dead now, I think.
No, he's still alive.
Did he die? Dorian Yates died?
I think he died. Don't quote me on it, but I'm sure I heard that he fucking died. It wouldn't be surprising, man. I mean, look at the roids the guy was taking.
Your heart takes a beating. It's just that size, your circular system. Think about it, all the capillaries and veins, what run through your muscle. Now imagine putting on that kind of muscle, so it just strains your fucking heart. It's crazy. I mean, you can get pretty damn big. He was big, man. I'm telling you, he was a monster. Huge monster, yeah. Vascular. And he wasn't the nicest guy. He had an edge to him, too. I saw him backstage in New England's, man, talking to his boys. He was kind of barking at them like they all owed him money.
Yeah, a guy I know, he's all into that. He does weight training. He's all into nutrition and all that. And he was talking about that Mr. Olympia, and he said Dorian Yates is the biggest guy he's ever seen.
Well, he has to be.
He was a freak, man. He really was.
By the way, I think he's still alive because I saw him on Rogan's podcast a couple of months ago. I don't know if he died since. No, he's still alive. 56. He's 56 years old.
He might be still alive then. I mean, it might be another one that I heard that died. Do you know what I mean? But he's done well to last to 56. He's just
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Gun says Canelo's going to be 5'8", 300 pounds.
But guys, just to sidetrack from that bodybuilding talk, do you really do you find that kind of physique appealing to you? Like, do you identify with those fucking monsters?
No. Well, and I'll real quick too, Pavel, put a point to that too. It was 1997. I went down to Miami, right? And I realized because I was there in '96, and I was after the summer. My buddy was down there. He was a bouncer and had a place to be. It was crazy, but so I was jacked. But the following year, I got even bigger because I was, I probably put on 20 pounds. But I remember '96, I was pulling all kinds of tails, getting more pussy than a gynecologist. The next fucking summer, though, right? The only people who were coming up to me were guys on the beach. Dude, look at how big you are, dude. You're jacked. So I realized, I'm like, but no, seriously, it's like you get to that point where, not all girls. Yeah. There's that one fucking type of girl, that gym rat chick who loves the jack dudes, but I got to that point where, but it's weird too because people think when you're jacked and muscular or whatever, people can walk up to you and say the fucked up shit. I had this one Jewish woman come, Maury, come here, look at this. Can you believe you and him are the same sex? Swear that's what she said. This you can tell us, dude, that fucking more money.
Wait a minute.
Girls don't really like them big. Girls don't really like them big fucking ass steroid dudes that are just monsters. Oh, everyone's gone. So, BDA, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, everyone's gone.
I'm laughing at.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
I was just saying that girls don't really like them fucking. From my experience, they like a guy that's athletic, a bit ripped and all that, but they don't really like guys that got fucking biceps.
That soccer player from Married the Spice Girl, that type of look, and athletic. It gets to the point between Beckham and maybe a professional athlete, a little more muscular, but there does become a point where you stop because it becomes freakish. It becomes like, even in my Twitter picture, I mean, there I'm 20 pounds lighter than I was at my heaviest. And there, I mean, I had a 20-inch arm and a 30-inch waist. So that can kind of fucking tell you, you know what I mean? And I was 20 pounds lighter. So at one point I was pretty freaky. And no, it's true. It's like you definitely get attracted only a certain type, that gym rat, you know, hard body chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's and another thing, because you know what it is, everybody thinks you eat. What's that?
Is it true? Is the myth true that it shrinks your cock?
No, not at all. It is. It's not true at all. It doesn't at all. If anything, it makes your cock look bigger because your junk gets smaller. It doesn't affect it. You get a raging hard on if the wind blows. Depends on what you're on. But no, your balls shrink up, but not your junk. I mean, not your cock itself, but just your balls. Shit that produces testosterone. Yeah.
It's like I found an interesting article about bodybuilding and the psychology of bodybuilders, and a lot of them. The one thing that bodybuilders have in common with those bulimic girls or girls with body dysmorphia, you know, that they're obsessed with their body and how
I used to call it reverse anorexia. Because people would say, dude, don't get any bigger. You're too big. And I'd look in the mirror. I'm like, fuck that, dude. No, you know, and it becomes reverse anorexia. I didn't see a freak until I looked at pictures. Now I'm like, God, what was I thinking? Look at my fucking, that's stupid, you know? But it is. It's a psychological thing, without a doubt.
By the way, so
when you
sorry, Pavel, go on.
No, I'm just gonna say that it's like when you have a kid that watches, you know, those cartoons like Conan and He-Man and Action Man and whatever, you know, those big ripped dudes, and it's just like it's not natural, and it develops in those child, you know, that the kind of unattainable body, you know, unless you take fucking massive pile of steroids.
Right, and I didn't abuse them either. I didn't take a shit ton. I'm like that. I went to the philosophy of an engine. Like, it's better to underfuel an engine, make it, you know, because you can overflood your shit. So I didn't do that, and I never took HGH either.
And by the way, two
things.
things. Sorry, I gotta say two things.
I noticed a lot of women are starting to think it's sexy for them to get ripped up and all. I hate that in a woman. I do.
Yeah, I don't like that either, Stu.
I like women to be petite and feminine, man. Yeah.
I have to say something here. I have to say,
I like women that are in shape, but I just don't like that.
Yeah.
Really,
you know
quickly.
how to hit the chick from behind and it looked like a fucking dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Fred Francis. There was fucking chicks, man, who had lats on them, man. Says fucking, hey, dude, let me hold on to you. Come on, huh? Please. If you don't fucking, she doesn't get off, she clenches up with her vag and fucking rips your cock off. Well, I should probably throw it. If I don't come in 5 minutes, I'm going to pop your head off.
All right, first of all,
dude, it's like you're doing Arnold Schwarzenegger up from behind. Fuck that, man. Do you know what I mean?
First, hold on. I gotta address a couple of things here. First of all, Jimmy, I think there's some sort of clipping coming from your end. I think you're moving your headphones around or something, because we hear constant constant noise.
Really?
Second of all,
no, all right, let me change your headphones, brother.
All right,
sorry
thanks.
about that.
No problem. And also, I don't appreciate the racial slurs against Native Americans. Indians. I don't know if you meant to say engines or Indians, but we respect Native Americans, or as we call them, the natives here in Canada. So please, no racial slurs. What did you say?
Oh, no.
Blackfoot. Can you still hear that clicking? Is that gone?
Well, just talk. Let's see.
All right, is there clicking still, or
no? It's
I could be clicking because I definitely have brain damage, so it could be clicking. I could be clicking, so I'm getting nervous now. It could be coming from me.
No. By the way, sticking to the steroid thing, is it true that if you go on, let's say you go on testosterone replacement therapy, are you absolutely gonna get a rash or eczema or some sort of a skin condition?
No. Depends. A lot of the acne is developed. Well, it's two ways. What happens when you take a lot of testosterone? Your body produces, the chemical called DHT, and what happens that basically clogs your pores. That's what causes bald, early, male pattern baldness, and that will clog your pores and give you pimples. Some people get it that way, or some people just if they're taking too much of. There's injectable steroids, as you know, and oral steroids. In the injectable, they come in two ways: water-based, which is very less, common, and then oil-based. And what happens, so you're injecting oil-based stuff directly in your muscles. So some people that are taking a lot will have a reaction to that. I was fortunate. I never got pimples from it. The only side effect I ever got was the nuts. I didn't get all the other ones. That and the obvious roid aggression, real bad. That was a problem with me, but everything else was all right. But yeah. So it's a reaction. It's just going to amplify. If you're a zitty type dude like that, the fucking kid at 118 pounds with all the acne on his back, if he's juicing or not, that kid's going to have acne. Just some dudes are going to have acne, So
yeah.
But
What's Hughie Fury's excuse, do you reckon?
Everybody fell off again. Yeah, everybody cut off again. Yeah, Hughie Fury, he's got a shit ton of acne on his back. Is that what you're saying?
Oh man, it's disgusting, man. Looks like his back looks like a margarita pizza, man.
Come on.
I've read that about Hughie Fury, that he has an actual like skin condition, not just like an regular acne, but the skin condition that aggravates a lot of that stuff.
Did he get like staph infections or something? Is it like that?
Oh fuck! I don't know,
from
man.
Juice, from taking juice.
I don't know. He just has problems with his skin, man, and it's
I'm
not
sorry,
very nice.
I got cut off. That's why. No, who are you talking about?
When Hughie Fury fights, you don't want to be watching it in HD. Just put it that way.
Oh. Yeah, I'm putting up a picture here. You can't really see it all that well, but you can see his chest and his arms. He's got like boils. Well, they're not boils, obviously, but doesn't look like regular acne. It really looks like something else. What the hell is it? It's not pleasant to see. So if anybody's eating,
I think he's got some bad skin condition. I've read that as well, and he's made it clear numerous times. But I'm just asking the question: could roids cause that?
No, I have a quote actually. Hughie says, "I just had to stop because I was worse off for training. I had a skin condition which was poisoning my blood over the years. It has got worse and worse. So it's probably something like inside." Because a lot of skin diseases like that, they are not actually developed on the surface. They are developed if you have certain imbalances inside your gut, for example, or in your body. It's just the skin is the stuff on your skin is a reflection on what happens to you inside of your body. So it might be that kind of thing.
So let's say you're a vampire. Let's just say you're a vampire and you're drinking blood and your skin is in pristine condition. Is that because you're drinking the baby blood, Pavel? Is that how it works?
Yeah, well, the thing is, my skin got worse because it is very hard to find any virgins in 2018, but
okay.
I gotta do.
Well, there you go.
Pavel, don't come to England, mate, because you definitely won't find one here.
Come on.
Jesus.
Come on, why do you gotta put your own country down like that? That's not
Pavel,
right.
Pavel's gonna end up like Tom Cruise is it Tom Cruise? Which is the one where he starts eating rats and that, like, because he won't eat and drink blood anymore. He starts eating rats.
Diary of a Vampire.
Yeah, that's the
Diary
one.
of a Vampire. Yeah.
Jesus.
Wait a minute, wasn't that that was the vampire? What was it called? With Val? No, not Val Kilmer. With
You're on about Interview with a Vampire with Brad Pitt, yeah?
That's right, isn't that the one where he? I think were you talking about
Interview with a Vampire, Brad Pitt? That's it.
And Nicolas Cage didn't he play a vampire too? Like he's a banker or something, and he thinks he's a vampire, and he starts eating.
Yeah, he thought he was. Yeah, he starts biting chicks, but he really wasn't.
That's funny that you guys mentioned that movie. My ex used to always want to go see that shit, and I'm like, what the fuck she wants to see it? And then dawned on me, the cast.
If BDA was a vampire, it'd be the one from Dusk Till Dawn, isn't it? The one that owned that bar.
Oh, that's right.
Mexican pussy, white pussy, black pussy.
Hey, that's a pretty good impression, man. That's a pretty fucking good impression right there. Oh, that would be my dream, man, to start a Tweety Twister. That's what the bar was called. Man, that would be... Somebody needs to start a chain of titty twisters all around the world, man. I tell you, that would be a huge success. Strippers, beer, a little bit of a blood show as well. Why not? Oh, and Salma Hayek. If you could get yourself a woman that looks like a prime Salma Hayek, watch the customers, you know, fucking drop in every time, man. Where are you gonna find?
Pussy.
What's that?
Why are people attracted to so-called cougars, like to MILFs? I don't know. I never found an appeal to that. Salma Hayek, yeah, she was good when she was young, but now she's dried, old up pussy.
That's what I said. I said prime Salma Hayek. I didn't say old.
Oh, when I was younger, I dated a few old. I dated a few old women. I quite liked it. They look after you well. They're good in the sack. What else could you want? All right, they get a bit past us now by date. You just trade it in for a new one, don't you? It's like a car.
Yeah. You know, they need to have a better character, you know, than a younger women because they are not young anymore.
But listen, fucking an old woman, it's like when you fuck a fat chick. Everybody does it every once in a while, you know. You gotta.
Yeah, but when you say old here, I want to make it clear. I didn't fuck old women. You're making it sound like I went to a fucking old people's home and fucking banged one there or something.
I'm glad you clarified that. Now listen, getting back to the boxing, did you guys, because we were talking about Gilberto, okay, first of all, I forgot to ask you, James DeGale, like we were saying, James DeGale, he's vacated the title, he doesn't want to fight Uzcategui, and again, you guys mentioned the rumor that he might be taking on Billy Joe Saunders, which would be a bigger money fight in the UK. Do you guys, when you see a guy like James DeGale who seems to be losing it physically, do you accept that and go, well, listen, he wants to make some money before it's all over? Fine, we don't care all that much that he's avoiding Uzcategui. Or do you look at him and say, what a pussy, this guy's avoiding? Like, if he knows he can't beat Uzcategui, why not vacate the title and not fight him, right?
I don't blame him. Like, I don't blame him. At the end, he's probably seeing the ending of his prime, right? Or he knows his prime is gone, his better days are gone, and he wants to cash out. I mean, it's a business at the end, you know. No matter what we say, like it's still a business. I think Uzcategui is probably a definite loss for him in a bad way. Like he probably sees it like this is a fight that I can lose really bad and get paid less money. You know what I'm saying? So he sees it as, you know, who has Billy Joe Saunders stopped? You know, who has he ever stopped? That
you're 100% right.
Any concern? You know?
Yeah, you could. That Yukasai came and said his name, he'd spark DeGale. And honestly, I'm not, it's going to sound rude, but for me, DeGale isn't relevant enough for me to fucking care that he's doing it, you know? He just, I don't know, that whole division, man, that Ramirez last week, that was heinous.
What's his problem, man? Like, if you were to diagnose him, like, what's his problem? Is he that he can't find the openings? He doesn't let his hands go. He can't create up. Like, what do you think it's going on with this kid?
To me, he doesn't seem like he has confidence in his jaw. I don't know. There's a lot of things. He does a lot of things I don't like. I like his stories about his gang stories. So those are pretty cool. His gun toting days.
I didn't know about them. I didn't know he was in a gang. Well, interesting.
Maybe he loves to talk. Every time I fucking see interviews, he's talking about the guns he used to carry.
No kidding. I wonder if he killed anybody. I wonder if he ever did the dirty deed and actually, what's the term they have called? Yeah, maybe. What are you talking
about? Who are you talking about? Because it cut out.
Ramirez. Apparently, he used to be in a gang.
Why do they call him Zordo?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Let's. I'm not trying to sound fucking racist, but oh well. I mean, there's parts of Mexico right now, and they kill so many people in a night that they can't even keep up with them. They just keep showing up, fucking throwing them in the thing, throwing them in a morgue.
I think it was Juarez City.
Yeah, Juarez, man. They fucking
Juarez City had 3,000 homicides in 1 year, and they're like a population of 1 million.
No, they have a population of 130,000, bro. They have a population the size of my city, Lowell, and they had 3,000 homicides. They had fucking 13 homicides in one night. The fucking morgue people have to on because they're afraid if they give evidence, if they write, I found the body look like this, their name will be on the report, so they get shot.
Oh,
so it's crazy.
Yeah, my mum went on holiday in Mexico, and she said it's a beautiful country, but you could just tell the aura is just dangerous place. You can tell.
Well,
They even
that's
tell you
along the
don't
border
go.
where it's real bad. It's where they're fighting for the border because that's where all the money is. Controlling the corridors to sneak the drugs in. If you go down by Acapulco and there's other parts of Mexico, it's all right. It's fine.
Geez, so a city of
Jimmy, I just got to quickly
130,000.
say you missed a good show the other day. We was talking about the old school heavyweights, and we got into a good discussion about Mike Tyson. It would have been great to hear your thoughts on that. It's a shame you weren't on, because I was saying he's probably one of the,
listen.
yeah, I was saying he's probably one of the most overrated heavyweights of our time, and I'm sure you'll disagree with me.
You think George Foreman beats Mike Tyson? I don't think so.
Yeah, I do.
I don't think so.
But hold on, just to clarify, Stu, did you say that
George Foreman did to Frazier? Frazier was sinless.
Just to clarify, hold on. Just to clarify, Stu, did you say the old Foreman or the younger Foreman?
I'm talking about the Foreman that was knocking Frazier and Ken Norton around. I ain't talking about the one that fought fucking
one that knocked out Michael Moore
and all that. I'm not talking about that one.
All right.
Yeah. His ferocity and his reputation, like everything in life, time heals old wounds and makes auras get bigger. Tyson is much more revealed now, it seems, than he was back then. A lot of people back then thought, because if you look at who he fought, he really never fought any big guys in their prime. That 4 or 5 years before he got popped, he fought like Spinks, who was small, or he caught guys at the tail ends, or I mean, no doubt about it. He was as quick and as explosive a puncher at his prime as I've ever seen. But that doesn't mean he's one of the best all-time heavyweights. It just means he was vicious.
Jimmy, I won't expect you to say that, because I said exactly the same things as what you just said in the last show. That was exactly my reasons why I think he was over. And I got a bit of stick for it as well. But when you go down that resume, there's like you said, there's a cruiserweight in Spinks, there's an old Larry Holmes as well past it. There's a terrible performance against Bone Crusher Smith. We
were saying all that while it was happening.
We were
saying that when it was happening
in his prime. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's not really many great.
But he fought good.
We were saying that all the time.
He did fight good competition and beat them.
Well, he was a victim of the times too. It's like Gennady. There was at one point it seemed like all the guys from the '70s started to retire. You know what I mean? That wave. So he kind of caught at the right time. But
I agree.
Stu's right. He fought smaller guys or guys at the end, but he was still explosive. His personality. It's just the whole thing. He was a cultural event as much as anything.
I agree. And to add a cherry on top, I think that emotional fighters don't have the same type of longevity in boxing as stoic fighters, kind of like Golovkin or Kovalev. They don't have the consistent performances.
Yeah,
could be. They burn out, I guess, no?
Yeah, sure.
Aggression.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead, Pavel. I was going to bring something up, but go ahead.
It's just, I think, when you're that kind of emotional fighter, you rely on a short-term type of motivation, and you don't have that kind of a big picture goal like a stoic fighter would have, putting those consistent performances and knowing what you want, but you just have that you just have that feeling that you hang in the moment, and you want to squeeze everything in a moment. But when it comes when the bad time comes, and it is just you may fail, and you have a higher probability of failing than consistent stoic fighter would have. So I don't know. That's just my theory.
Very good point. It's the mentality. I mean, if you get a guy that's out of control. Yeah.
Didn't Tyson lose it after Casamaro died? I mean, some say if he would have stayed alive, he would have been 100-0.
I mean, 100-0, I don't know about that. But,
well, you get the point, right?
Well, Cus kept him in line without a doubt. That was the one man who kept him mentally in line. Everybody knew that, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
the
at
guy.
the end, he had nobody who cared about him. He was because the people who
Tom
was
King.
making the money off him weren't going to hang around with him, you know. It's a weird position to be in. When you have that kind of money, it's not like all of a sudden wealthy people are going to hang around with you. They look down their nose at you. And what are you going to do? You bring all that money back to the hood where you live? That's just asking for trouble.
Exactly.
So they become lions. That's why there's a lot of problems with, you know, people like even fucking people who win the lottery. They end up with no friends and no family and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, there was a football player. I think it was a football player who said, I forget who it was. I heard a quote somewhere where it says that he could hang around with new people, or he could go back to the hood, but then he'd know he'd have to be packing a gun because they were just going to be asking for. They were just going to be bringing trouble. You know what I mean?
Read my lips. Oh man. You in the hood.
But I mean, that's what they're saying. Like, it's you either switch teams and then they look at you
Well,
and they
he
say,
went with
"Oh,
the Nation of Islam, but didn't hear something like that.
yeah, that's oh fuck, that's well, listen." Like Pavel said,
yeah, Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah.
Dude,
Tyson
let me
was
tell you something.
already
When
like
he grew
Pavel.
up, when Tyson grew up, and around that time of that era, the Nation of Islam would have got shot.
Brownsville. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, that was like a total different ball game. That was a different land.
Mm-hmm.
Over there, even they were not safe.
They used to tell tourists, don't step in front of an ambulance because they need the business, so they'll hit you.
Oh, man,
yeah, New York was bad in the 80s, man. The zoo.
Well, you say bad, but I look at the New York from that era and I go, if I could go back in time to New York and any era, I would go back to the mid 70s, early 80s. We're talking the New York of Taxi Driver from Martin Scorsese. You know, we're talking peep shows. We're talking Times Square being a hotbed of entertainment. Not like now. Oh, now it's a family place. Everybody can go there. Nah, man. Open up the peep booths. Open up, you know, the fucking... Bring over the prostitutes. Have a good time. Why not? Now you got to go to Vegas for that shit. And not even Vegas. Even Vegas.
I was there in the 83, right before it got ugly. Like, and it was still ugly before it changed. There was open-air drug markets, dude. Right in Times Square. People would drop... Just how you would stand in line to buy heroin, right? You would stand in line and they would drop it down in a bucket. And you would put the money in a bucket, they'd bring it up to the and this was next to the peep shows and all, you know, rated X and people trying to bring you inside and shit. Yeah, no, it was crazy, man. It was a shithole. And then all of a sudden, you know, NBC bought the building and that's when it all started changing right there. And then bang, you know,
fucking NBC.
MTV moved in and became bubblegum.
You guys ever see
42nd Street is totally different from, like, I would even say the late 90s. It's just like a different world now. It's like Disneyland.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a night and day compared to what it was before. Did you guys ever see what's the name of the movie with Harvey Keitel where he plays a corrupt cop who's also an addict? Bad Lieutenant. No, have any of you seen Bad Lieutenant?
Yes, I have. Great movie.
Well, it's a bit of a harsh movie. I mean, great movie in the sense that it's a well done film about a guy who's just completely hitting bottom. He plays a cop. I don't know if he's a homicide detective or something, but it's just a guy. It's just Harvey Keitel. The whole movie, it's him shooting heroin, snorting coke, trying to hustle for as much money as he can, and then at the end, he finds redemption. But it's not the type of Hollywood redemption where everything has a nice ending. It's a harsh type of redemption. But anyway, that New York, that movie's from 1990, I think, 1991. And you can still look at that New York and go, yeah, it still wasn't. When did Giuliani clean that shit up? Was it in the
New York
mid-90s?
changed completely in the 2000s, early 2000s.
Early
2000s. My friend's a sociology professor, right? And I'll tell you right now, he did a study. And this was his explanation for one of the reasons why New York went to hell in the late 70s, early 80s. Part of it was the mafia. Really, nothing. You did nothing in New York. No clothes, food, concrete. Nothing was touched. Garbage without the mob making money. So it was so expensive. And on top of that, during the Vietnam War, all the good guys who didn't burn their cards, the type dudes the police want were off in Vietnam. So they lowered their standards and they let in a whole classroom. They said 68 to 72 of police that would have never normally made it, like Louis Ceppolino and the Mafia cops. During the late 70s and 80s, it was called the New York City. It was the New York City Police, the police taxi service. There was so many cops that you could pay money so you wouldn't get robbed delivering your heroin and cocaine. The cops would drive you around like a chauffeur service to keep you safe. That was a well-known thing, dude. I'm hand to God, bro. It was the most corrupt wall of blue. There's some crazy stories out there. One, I forget his name now. We did a testimony in front of the Senate Ways Commission, and the shit he admitted to doing, it blow your mind what they were doing, and the whole fucking precinct knew about it. But brothers, like you said, cops didn't rat on cops.
Yeah, no Serpicos in that story right there. I remember reading the making of Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, the way he was directing and everything. They were filming at night in the corner of a street, and there was an old woman walking, and then this guy just comes in over to her, punches her in the face, knocks her out, grabs her purse, and just walks away. And that was New York back in those days. It was just it's kind of hard to understand now how it was, but it was Taxi Driver. It captures the essence of what's going on. And now that Jimmy says that the cops were essentially delivering or serving as escort for drug dealers, I mean, that's
sounds like the Wild West, man.
BDA, I watched the worst beating I ever saw somebody take. It was weird too. It was a gay couple. This one gay guy was begging his boyfriend to not break up with him, and the boyfriend, and we're all in Times Square, and this guy is fucking rocking him with shots, splitting him open, whatever shot. Ooh, putting his eye up, flicking cigarettes in his face, kicking him in the head, and the kid would get up, wipe the blood out of his face, and it was getting like sickening. There was a cop standing there swinging his club, and I'm like, dude, what's up? He's like, fucking homos, I ain't getting involved. And he just walked away. Hand to God. I was like, wow. And that was when AIDS was first getting popular, like in the mid-'80s when, so cops. But no, dude, I'm telling you, everybody just walked by. This was like stepping around the puddles of blood. And I'm like, this fucking town is off the hook.
Well, I mean, hold on a second.
It stuck in my head, man. It was brutal.
Hold on a second.
It made me sick, actually. It made my stomach sick. It was so bad of a beating.
Jesus.
But what would you have done if you were the cop? You would have intervened knowing all that blood was there, all that...
I would have at least fucking maced the prick, or at least hit him with my club upside his head, give him a little smack, pop, hey, tough guy. Fuck, take that shit home. I mean, he was beating him right in the middle of Times Square. It was going on, and the kid would get up and fuck, it was like a train fucking wreck. I couldn't stop watching it.
It's interesting. It's interesting if that would have happened today. Oh
my God! People would have jumped on them. They would have been microaggressions. Fucking millennials would have been having heart attacks all over the place.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
What a fag.
But it's interesting because now,
first of all, what makes me laugh?
What's that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I asked.
No, I was going to say. Go ahead. BDA. Go ahead.
I'm asking what you're going to say. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no. You ever see these fucking couples, like a girl will call 911. You hear the 911 call. Yeah, my boyfriend's beating the shit out of me. Oh, my God. Ah. So, think about like you're the operator transferred the phone call to a cop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we got a violent situation. I think the guy might be dangerous. He's beating her up. I heard him yell in the background, bitch, I'll kill you. He goes up there, beats the shit out of the guy, or maybe even kills him, and the bitch is crying. Why'd you kill him? Why'd you do that to him?
Yeah.
You whore. You're calling 911 saying, help me. My boyfriend's beating the shit out of me. I mean, what do you expect?
That's every cop will tell you, that's the worst call to take. I'll tell you, I still have a scar to this day because of a situation similar to that. I was a bouncer at this fucking nightclub that really was just a place people showed up to fight. And, and one night, this kid picked up his girl and he slammed her backwise across the bar. Like, we seen them arguing, so we were all waiting for him to do something. And he did. Sure enough, he picked her up. And I'm telling, slammed her on the bar. So right away, we just tackled his ass, opened the door with his head, flew him outside. And from behind, dude, she reached around and grabbed me by my face, stuck her nails into my face, and just tore backwards. Fuck? I still got the scars. That was 4 years ago. Gashed me open with her nails because I grabbed her boyfriend, who just
they want to be beat up.
That's what back.
They want to be beat up. They're fucked up in the head, these women. They want a beating. You know what I mean?
I had the same thing happen to me, Jimmy. I worked as a bouncer, and I beat the shit out of her abusive, the this girl's abusive boyfriend, who was not. That's not why I beat him up. It's just that he started disrespecting me, and I said, "Yo, take that somewhere else before you get hurt." And you know, that's like asking for a fight, basically. And so the guy came up to me, and I started whipping his ass. And when I was whipping his ass, this little fucking bitch was like throwing 3 or 4 punches, and I finally couldn't take it anymore. I clogged her. I clopped her. You know, like boom, 1 punch. The fuck out of here.
Well,
I don't like.
I'm telling you right now,
she's punching the shit out of me. Like she's just full.
I'll tell you, I would have fucking punched if I would have, like, she cut me in the eyelid, my right eyelid, and the other nails right to my mouth, and she tore back. So I grabbed my face, and before I could even turn around, my buddy Bobby Sheedy was a fucking crazy wrestler, man. Just cold cocked her, cracked him, and put her right the fuck out. Boom! I mean, right. And she was a tiny little thing, and Bobby was a no-necked middleweight wrestler from high school. Juice had just fucking. Wow, just cracked her. He goes, dude, that's the first kick I ever hit. Fuck her. And I was like, dude, you know, it didn't work. Yeah, no, cut me open. I should have probably got stitches in one of them. But yeah, he put her lights right out. I couldn't believe it.
All right, guys.
You know what?
Well, you keep laughing at that. You guys keep laughing at being. There's nothing funny about. Okay, stop laughing, guys. So you think that's funny? Huh? You think it's funny beating up women? All right, recognize you got to stop. You're really enjoying this. All right, recognize. I would appreciate if you stop laughing. All right. You know, you guys, I mean, let me tell you something. Beating up women, that's what I was going to say. I was going to ask Jimmy, with the cop that was beating up, I mean, not the cop, the other guy that was beating up the gay guy. Maybe the gay guy was enjoying it. They're into some freaky shit. I mean, I'm not stereotyping.
I guess he caught him cheating because they were arguing about what was going on. He's like, please don't leave me. And then bang, it was nuts. He just get up and he wiped the blood out of his face. It was a pretty disgusting beating. But yeah, nobody, even this, I'm talking civilians, everybody just kept walking by, like, oh, stepping over the blood, stepping around him. It was nuts.
All right, guys, it's not. Why do you got to keep laughing at that? Somebody got beat up.
You know what? Sorry, BDA, I have a theory on that. It's like when you have a pretty girl and you observe her and she gets showered with compliments and all that. She has her ground kissed by the other guys. It's like she gets complacent with that, and she needs that negative stimuli, and to the point where when she will actively seek for it, you know, to some drama.
See, now that's an interesting theory that could get you in a lot of trouble nowadays if you say it. But I don't know. I don't know if I've told the story before that I'd read in a newspaper somewhere where it was a guy was with his family, his wife and daughter, and one of his neighbors was beating up his wife, the neighbor's wife. So the neighbor's beating up his wife. So the guy goes up to him, and he holds him back, and then the guy hit him. So the other guy started hitting him back, and the woman who was getting beat up, she jumps on top of the guy who's helping, the Good Samaritan, and you know, I don't know how the situation was diffused, but the guy said, "You're dead, motherfucker." And later that night, he came back with a bunch of his friends, and they shot the house up. And they ended up killing the guy. His daughter and wife weren't hurt, but the guy ended up getting caught in the gunfire. And so it does raise up the question, like, do you play the hero? Do you play the Good Samaritan? Because I know that's what the Bible says you're supposed to do, but it could get you killed, man.
I don't think you should. I think you should let her get beat up until she, you know, finally stops liking that stuff. You know, like getting hit.
Well, you guys saw that famous video, right, from a couple of years ago where it was a huge, tall, Arabic-looking guy was in the subway in New York, and these black chicks were acting up. It doesn't matter what race they were.
No, he was Dominican.
Oh, he was Dominican. All right.
I know he's talking about, yeah.
Yeah, he looked Arabic.
Dominicans would beat up. Dominicans will smack anybody of any race. They don't care.
Was that the video in a subway with a big slap on a girl's face?
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that one. So she attacked him, right? For anybody that hasn't seen the video, it's these black chicks, and it doesn't matter what race they were. I'm just saying they were causing a ruckus in the subway, and one of them started assaulting the guy, and he called her a dirty bitch. So she slapped him in the face, and he turns around, finally had enough, and he gave her the slap of a lifetime. all of a sudden her friends jump on top of him, and this guy that I don't think he was their friend, some random guy.
No, he was their friend.
Oh, he was their friend. Is that confirmed?
Yeah. I seen the video. I know you're talking about. It's a Spanish dude.
Right.
He jumps on the other on the guy. Okay, so what happened was that girl started making fun of his jacket. He was wearing an 8-ball jacket that was like something that came out in the 90s. And so she was making fun of him because of that. And there was guys videotaping the whole thing. And one of the guys who were playing with her said something to her. And she went after the guy that was video recording. You could see his camera hits the floor. And he said, "Why are you doing that?" Like he said it with an accent. "Why are you doing that? You crazy bitch. Why are you doing that?" And she said, "You sound stupid." She said like that. And then he said, "You're a crazy bitch." And then she fucking hit him with her purse, and he just smacked the life out of her. It looks like.
Yeah, you know what?
And then the guy jumps in.
Yeah, go ahead, Pavel.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's like when you try to defend yourself like that guy in those kind of situations, when you try to protect your dignity and your image, the worst enemy is not her, but the other guys that may come to help the poor princess, you know?
The White Knights.
Oh,
yeah,
exactly.
like I would have let her get smacked if I was the guy that was with her. But then again, it just obviously anybody who hangs out with her must be more or less like her. You know what I'm saying?
Very good point.
Because how else would you tolerate something like that? The only way I could tolerate a girl like that, she was kind of cute in the face. I let her blow me.
Me too.
The only time I want a girl like that around me.
Well, you know what? I think like that's a good point about the psychology of a person like that, because if she's going around, hitting random people with her shoes, if you could somehow tame her, I'm pretty sure she'd give some amazing fucking blowjobs, because like you said, she wasn't bad looking. She's a pretty good looking girl.
That's a girl that likes abusive boyfriends. I don't have to know her. I can tell already. She likes to get fucked hard and her lights punched out at the same time. I could already tell. I've had a shit like that.
Stereotypes happen for a reason. It's no joke. All you got to do is look at a relationship a girl has with her parents, or her dad, or how her dad treated her mother. You know what I mean? That's no joke. I've seen that so much. A relationship, a girl, daddy issues. If she was raised and she's always fighting for his acceptance, if he's an abusive guy who's always put her down, treated. So growing up, that's her interpretation of love. So if this guy isn't making her question her self-worth, he doesn't love her. So she's going to cause drama. What's the matter? You don't get me. What's the matter? They like that you're jealous and shit. So it's turmoil, because turmoil is what they know. So you know what I mean? If go with a girl who was raised, in a right family and knew love, and so it's always different. You know what I mean? It's who you search out. It's like I tell my friend, "Oh, you mean that girl? Oh, your girl cheated on you? Oh, that sucks. You mean the girl you met at the fucking club who was doing rails? You know what I mean? 31-year-old chick out doing fucking gaggers all night, fucking cheating on you. Oh, wow, what a shocker."
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what? Recognize that type of girl in the subway that hit the guy. Oh, is he here? Oh yeah, he's here. Listen, recognize the type of woman that was in the subway, that hit the guy.
Mm-hmm.
She should receive a treatment from Dr. Rocco Siffredi.
I think she would love it. She looks like the type of nasty girl that would like
Rocco Siffredi. Oh, that's that fucking dude. Looks like a fucking baby holding a corn muffin. Don't
talk bad about. Right? Yeah, don't talk bad about that guy. Come on. He's somebody that we can all look up to. No, I'm kidding. But then again, like it brings up a good point about what Jimmy was saying, because okay, it doesn't just have to apply to women. You look at Floyd Mayweather, the way he treats women, or the type of relationships that he has, and then you listen to the stories about how his father would treat his mother, and you put two and two together. That's all he saw growing up. So maybe that's how he thinks.
You're 100% right.
There are men that are addicted to drama, like women that bring. Look, when you're young, right? Everybody's young. They make mistakes. But when you see a man in his 40s dating the same type of women, then you obviously know there's a pattern there. That's something like it's the same thing for women, right? Same thing applies for men. Like if you're the type of man that always arguing with your woman, and it's like I think they get their rocks off that way, you know, like and it's for life. It's like that's the only way they get it up, you know. Oh, she's arguing with me, she's making me upset, you know, that kind of thing. It's good when you're young, and but once you're in your 40s, man, you should have a stable relationship by then.
Yeah, man, nobody's got time for that bullshit when they get older. But that was an excellent point, though, BDA, about Mayweather. 100% right? Hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's shit punching the fuck out of his woman in front of his kids. Come on.
All right, so
that's because it's what he was raised. It's what he saw growing up.
Yeah.
From both his uncle and father, both habitual woman beaters.
Yeah, like
out of their own mouth.
If you don't have proper male role models, I mean, your chances to be a normally functional person is like kind of lower, you know.
Exactly. I mean,
I was fortunate.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that, BDA.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I was raised around a bunch of fighters and boxers, and fortunately, nobody I knew beat their woman. I was spared from that. So it's such a foreign concept; it never crossed my mind, you know. But again, it's how you raised and what you saw.
Yeah,
exactly, man.
Exactly, because listen, venting out through physical violence, it's not a feasible. You can't keep doing that until you're in your 60s. I mean, at some point, it's gonna catch up to you. Listen, if you're the type of person that's prone to anger or whatever, go to the gym. Do a couple of squats, some deadlifts, hit the bag, do some spar. Don't fucking start taking it up, because if you lose your temper with the wrong person, you could get killed. Or if you lose it in front of the wrong person, you could go to jail. So
it happens every day. That scenario you just said. Every day that happens, right?
Right.
Every single day there's some guy who loses his temper either around the wrong people or, you know, he gets away with it in terms of the physical violence and goes to jail.
Exactly.
The best thing for me was a psychiatrist. I ain't ashamed to say, man, that got my head on straight. I used to have real prone to violence and stuff like that. And it really helped. It took me a while to find one. It was a woman, but she put it all out. And you need to look at yourself. If you can't look at yourself, if you're too busy with all these preconceived notions, you really look at yourself and see how you treat people and see how you affect people. Once you do that, you can usually make the right call, unless you're a sociopath and then it's fucking no luck. But
see, getting onto the Floyd Mayweather thing, I think the social justice warrior world we are living in today, if Floyd Mayweather, just say he was still fighting, and I think if he did it now, there would have been no way back for him. They'd have finished him. They'd have took him off the TV. They'd have crucified the man. They'd have done like a Trump to him, sort of thing.
Well, it goes to show you how much, you know, how of a small sport boxing truly is. The fact that he could fly under the radar having these big fights and where
I think that's what it
Rice
is.
smacks his girl, getting kicked out of fucking, you know, NBA, NFL and NHL now have a zero tolerance. You smack your woman, you're out of the league.
Oh, come on.
And for Floyd, but it's they do zero tolerance now.
It's true what he's saying. No, if you smack your girl in the NFL,
in the NHL, you don't even have to be convicted. Once you're arrested in the NHL, I mean, the fucking LA Kings kicked their best defenseman off before he went to court. But anyways, with Floyd, it did affect him. The reason why he's begging to get into a fucking MMA cage and roll around like a fucking clown is because you can't have those leased vehicles and all these people hanging on your teeth. You might have all this money, but you know what his monthly nut is? Never mind his spendages. So he has nothing coming in. There's no endorsements. Nobody's ever going to pay and want his name attached to anything of theirs. So does he seem like a slick businessman? No. Look at the money he spends, and he didn't even pay his taxes in the last one. So I'm telling you, mark my words, I might not live long enough. Shit is not going to end well for that dude. Hand to God.
Yeah, but you know what? In his interviews, he said, like I said before, I make small investments, you know.
Yeah, keep saying he talks about his investments. I don't know.
Y'all don't understand. I do things smarter, not harder.
Don't forget the hand clapping.
Floyd, the thing with Floyd, if times get a bit hard, all he's got to do is sell one of his fucking watches, and he's all right again for a year, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be. I know.
That's true. Good, man.
Well, it's true, isn't it? The guy's got ridiculous amounts of money, but like you said, you can only spend and spend and spend without bringing money in for so long before you run out. You only got to look at Hollywood and all the ex-athletes. I mean, the NFL are known for it. Multi-millionaire NFL athletes sleeping on the streets because they've blown every penny they've ever had. So, it's quite common, especially in America. A lot of American athletes.
I'm going to get something later, and I'll get the link and I'll put it up for you guys. I just read this crazy statistic about the amount of millionaire professional athletes, NBA and NFL, the most. More than 50% within 5 years of retiring was like 50% filed personal bankruptcy. It was when I read this, and it was from the government. It wasn't just some blogger. This was legit statistics. It was crazy. A lot of these guys don't have their money, so he could sell his watch, but then he's got to pay the taxes that year, and then how many people are on his payroll? You think that Jim's making any money? Come on, taxes, those luxury taxes you got to pay every year on all those vehicles, and even if he's leasing them, it's nuts.
Well, he has those bodybuilders as well.
I got a feeling. Hey, I think Conor McGregor could go down the same route because that guy has got spending habits just as bad as Floyd. Yeah. He has. His spending habits are just as bad as Floyd's, mate.
Yeah, he looks like the type too.
The thing with Conor hasn't got a fucking team of hang-ons that are costing him thousands of pounds a week. This money team and all that. Like he doesn't have that. So he saved himself money with that, and he doesn't need 5 Bugattis like Floyd's got. He hasn't got the money Floyd's got. Let's be real. But Conor is going down that route where he's spending 50 grand on suits and that. Like you can only do that for so long, man. I'm telling you.
But Stu, do you think he's got enough money to pay for both the Zone and ESPN Plus?
Who?
McGregor.
Isn't that supposed to be $25 a month?
Oh yeah, I get it. Fucking hell. Yeah, it is joke.
But you know what? It's interesting. It's interesting. McGregor
Who's that sinister looking smoking back there?
That's Pavel,
Oh man, I wish I could make that screen bigger for everybody on the YouTube stream to see it. But look, McGregor.
Yeah, well, the thing is, can I talk for a sec?
Yes,
it's
go ahead.
Like with all those athletes, they don't come from affluent backgrounds. Those guys are usually, they don't come from necessarily good neighborhoods as a whole. So it's like. They don't receive a proper education on how can you invest your money, because you cannot tell me that a guy like Warren Buffett will buy like 100 cars from the current year just to wait for them to depreciate in a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You think they're going around, and that's the other thing. This is what would worry me if I were an athlete is. How do you trust somebody to handle your money? Because a couple of years ago, Fernando Vargas, former middleweight champion of the world, he got into trouble. Some accountant or something got a hold of his money and started making investments without telling him, and he lost a lot out of his money. Felix Tito Trinidad as well. I think he lost a whole bunch of his money.
That's because you let one person. The key in that situation is you have to have 2 people. You have one firm handling your money, making your investments, and you have to have an unrelated law firm who has access to look at your accounts at any time, so they can see the plays, what's going on. You just have to have just you cover your dot your I's and cover your T's or whatever. So that's all.
I mean, the best thing to do as well is keep your money in a bank. I mean, go around like the Charlos do with 150 grand in a bag going to nightclubs. It's just not good.
Get robbed.
Yeah.
Get robbed.
It shows you that they have nobody in their life that's ever had money. They don't know, like you said, they don't know what to do.
Come on, Jimmy. That's a basic life skill that any child should know.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think that nobody ever is going to top Evander Holyfield in terms of spending money, because he was like at the point when he bought a 1,000 bedroom mansion or something, and he got bankrupt.
Well, he has like 13 children or something like that.
Well, Tyson bought a house in Connecticut for $33 million. At one point, it was the most expensive house in the country, and he bought it, was only there 6 times. Like he said, he forgot how to even get there. I mean, so yeah, they just pissed money away.
You're dealing with a gentleman who has an IQ like under 85 when you fucking you're walking around with 150,000 in your
I don't think they're stupid. I just think they go crazy with all the money.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, you look at
like,
Tyson, you would think Tyson was crazy, but you look at Tyson now, he doesn't look crazy. He's actually pretty smart. But
it's a cultural thing with Floyd waving up money. You go to the strip clubs, you hold up all the money. It's like well, whatever. I almost just said something that would have got me crucified.
Uh-oh. Well, listen, you gotta be...
Yeah, like the Charles. They're obviously with their bag of money, they were imitating Floyd Mayweather.
Exactly. These fucking donkeys.
And did they get... the people who robbed them, it was transvestites, right? That was the story, or am I making that part up?
Well, I don't know if they were transvestites, but it looked like... You're talking about Charles,
but when you're
right?
when you're training hard for a fight and you've earned your money by fighting, I mean, and it's... Let's be real, as a world champion, 150 grand's not a lot of money for a world champion, is it? Let's be real. So the little money you do, that's what you made, yeah. So the little money you did make, you put it away for another day. You don't take it to a nightclub pretending you're Floyd Mayweather Jr. I mean,
well, after taxes, I mean, if he got paid $500,000, right? If that was his purse, then he's got to pay his corner. He's got that. A lot of other shit's got to come out of that.
He only got paid 150 grand, Jimmy. That's my point. That was his wages in that bag.
Come on.
He was walking around with it. Oh man, that's awesome.
And who walks around with a purse, by the way?
And think about it, man. I don't know if you guys seen the video, but a girl walks out with his money, right?
Yeah.
A girl walks out with like his handbag or his purse, whatever the fuck it is. And he
got robbed?
Yeah. Talking about Charlo, yeah, he did. Like Charlo.
Somebody robbed Charlo when he walked out with his purse and somebody grabbed it from him?
Yeah, but there was a bunch of holes there.
That's my point, Jimmy.
Not only that, they pulled the oldest joke on him. They pulled one of the oldest joke on him, at least in New York, like that I'm aware of. This thing has been like, it's a scheme, right? You distract the guy, and you have him. First, he's hanging out with the girl. Supposedly, that some guy went up to him and was arguing with him about the girl. And I bet you that's the girl that walked out with his money. I guarantee.
You can see it on the video, no? She's walking just like casually.
Yes. I'd be hard pressed to believe that was something done on a whim. Although, how would they know he was carrying that money?
Oh, people dropped off. Sorry about that. Having technical difficulties here. Every 15 minutes, people drop off. All right, everybody's back except Jimmy. Yeah, that's strange. When you get robbed, somebody pulls the old switcheroo on you, that's when you know you've been had, man. There it is. I'm putting up a screen cap of the security footage of the women that were walking out with his 150,000. By the way, who carries around a bag? I don't care if you have money, bullets in it. Don't carry around a purse.
That's a dead giveaway. That you see, I gotta say something, BDA, because I know that on the panel, I'm talking to a lot of people from all over the world, right?
That's right.
So that is a dead giveaway that you're carrying a lot of money, especially when people know who you are. Like, all it takes is one person to say, "You see that guy right there? Yeah, he's a boxer." What do you mean he's a boxer? He's a boxer, right? Like, what's his name? Oh, somebody you may not know, right? They start scoping him out. They say, okay, he's carrying a Gucci bag, right? Or a Louis Vuitton bag. There's a good chance there's money inside there. Maybe he's going to a strip club later. Okay, maybe he's going to a strip club later. Let's see how much money he has. So all they do is send a hat, right? A girl. They put a hat on him. They send a girl. Go ahead, flirt with him. More than likely, he likes big booty bitches. You're a big booty bitch. Go up there, go talk to him. You know, act like I'm gonna go step to him and be like, "Yo, that's my girl. What you doing with my girl?" We'll diffuse the situation, or we cause a little you know, a little, like a little chaos, and you walk once you walk away with the money, I'll stop and be like, all right, my bad, man. You know, it is what it is. My girl's acting like a hoe. It's not your fault. You're right. Mm-hmm. Who cares at that point? You know, even if that was my girl, I'll be like, yo, I'm walking. My girl just got me $150,000. That's it.
But it's like, I mean, come on. You're going to tell me that they don't know? The black kids from Houston's motherfuckers get shot for a lot less than 150 grand.
That's
you know
what
I mean? If any kids from around the hood found out, wait outside, you watch out, poop, they put one in his head for that.
He can't.
That's
be
just
that
you're
smart.
asking for trouble.
He can't
right?
be that smart, not knowing. Like, I came in with a bag. Before I get into any altercation, let me find my bag. Like, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Is like, where's my bag?
Exactly.
He wasn't even. It seemed to me for her to walk out that comfortable that he wasn't. He was too focused on
the big ass.
The guy that stepped to him. The guy that went up to him and was like, "Yo, what are you talking to my girl for? You know, why are you? You know, that's my girl. I feel disrespected." You know, maybe he feels amped up that the guys, oh, look at this New York guy backing down from me. Yeah, I don't want no smoke, bro. Yo, bro, I don't want no smoke, man. I didn't know you was Jamal Charlo. You know,
recognize. This sounds like you've done this before.
Well, you know.
Sometimes you don't
That's
sound
what
like
people
a
are
kid.
saying in the chat. They're saying he knows.
Well, I'll tell you right now. If I was in that situation,
I'll just say this. I wasn't always an innocent person. I had, in my younger days, even if I never did it, I knew people who did shit like that. Like, they did stuff like that. They know how to spot out a guy with a whole lot of money, a stupid idiot. And then after a while, you can tell. Like, I worked in clubs as a bouncer. I could tell what guys were coming in with a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You know, like, yeah, this guy right here is coming in with like fucking 100 grand on him.
Did you ever? By the way, Chris Gonzalez says, "But the crime is down." A little bit of a quote there from.
Oh, it is. I think 40 people got killed in the Bronx. Like, I don't know. I think it was like in 1 week. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was either 40 shootings and stabbings, and maybe 15 died. I don't know, something like that in 1 week. But the crime is down.
And
if I was in that situation where I had a bag of money like that, and that fucking shit would never have left between my. If I was getting a smoker, I'd have been girl work around it for real. Like, that wouldn't have left my lap. I would have put a hole in the bag, moved the money aside, girl. You know what I mean? Like, that shit wouldn't have left my sight.
Well, that was Recognizer's point. So it begs the question: was Jermel being distracted by the guy or by the big ass, or was he maybe inebriated or not exactly?
Or was the money insured and he's looking to fucking get paid?
Dude, listen, you don't even have to like be part of that situation to spot out what happened there. He was being preyed upon from the beginning. Somebody was like, look, he's carrying a whole lot of money. He's walking in here with a Louis Vuitton bag. All it took was one person to notice him, and then somebody saying he's a boxer. And that was it. And they said,
it was Sam Watton's cousin. They were in on it. He left the arena once and called his cousin. Hey, he's on his way.
You never know, man.
Hey, I'm not trying to say nothing here, okay? I'm not trying to indict myself. Definitely has nothing to do with me, and I would never do that. But don't trust bouncers. Don't trust bouncers.
No. Absolutely.
Yeah, no.
Okay?
It's like
a bouncer will rat you out. Be like, hey, I'm gonna call one of my boys, have him come to the club, because he knows who the ballers are. He knows who the guys with the money are.
It's like these rappers. I mean, they make me laugh. Some of these rappers, they're like 5'2" and built like a matchstick, and they got like 300 grand watches on, and they're showing it off in a club, and like they're not going to get robbed. You know, the amount of rappers that get robbed, you'd be surprised. Some of them keep it quiet.
And some of them are even didn't one just get killed not in New York. This was in I believe it was in Florida actually. It was in Miami, I believe. A rapper from Florida got killed in his car. What was he carrying? a Louis Vuitton bag with $100K inside. People know this already.
All right, what's going on?
What you're carrying in these purses or these bags that they have?
Mm-hmm.
They got about even if it's not $100K, man, it's like at least a couple of grand, and that's good enough for them. And that rapper Extension, whatever his name is, right? They killed him. They killed him for his bag.
So I don't understand. Did they find the bag, or the bag was still in the car and they didn't take it? What's going on?
No, the bag was in his car.
Right.
It was in his car. Look, I don't know the exact details, but apparently he was going to a dealership. It may have been like a BMW dealership, something like that, right? He's a well-known rapper from that area. They know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
They see him. All they have to do is, all they got to do is see him and say, "I wonder what he has in that car," right?
Well,
and they
police
go up to
think
him
it was a gang hit.
Well,
that's what I heard.
Even if it was a gang hit, let's say it was a gang hit, it's a gang hit with benefits, right? Because I know
so
you
he
have
was just
money on you.
he was about to go to prison for kidnapping and literally beat the sheriff's department said it was one of the worst severe beatings they ever saw somebody take. A pregnant woman, 8 months pregnant girlfriend. He beat her so severely she couldn't see out of her eyes. She was bleeding from her ears.
Did they say it was one of the best
She was a maggot. So when I heard he got shot, I was like, "Oh,
yeah." I mean, I'm not going to shed a tear off him. I mean, he's where he should be. Then, isn't he? Fucking getting eaten by maggots and worms. So let him stay where he is. Do you know what I mean? Fucking,
listen, when people come after you, and kill you with that kind of intent, look, I would never wish death on anybody because I just there's a whole karma thing. Maybe I'm a little superstitious about shit like that, right? But look, when they come in and kill you, there's usually you'll hear the story. Oh, he was a great guy. He was innocent.
Yeah.
Come on, man. There's always nobody kills you in that kind of way for no reason. They just don't. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, they fired like 21 shots. Exactly.
Yeah,
they shot him like 21 times.
Somebody wanted him real dead. I mean,
yeah, of course. 21 bullets. They definitely wanted him dead. Do you know what I mean? But I'm a true believer where certain people are made to have money and certain people are not. And when you take people that are not really and got the common sense to have money, then it's a tragedy waiting to happen, and this is the problem. When you meet proper rich, these old school rich people, they never carry money on them. They've never got a penny in their pockets. It's all card, and you'll never see them carrying money around. They don't wear flash jewelry. It's all in a safe at home. They don't. They're smart people, but you get people from the streets that have not had a lot growing up, and you give them a lot of money quickly at once, and they fall to pieces. I've seen it myself with guys that have made money, and they haven't got the common sense, so they buy loads of drugs and end up fucking getting themselves in all sorts of bad situations, looking a mess, and then before you know it, they've spent it all. Certain people are just not meant to have money, where certain people are very smart. They can turn $100 into 1,000, and multi-millionaires. I mean, I know multi-millionaire guys like fucking 75 years old, and multi-millionaires, and like they get up and go to work every day still to run the business, to make sure it's all being run smoothly. Do you know what I mean?
To your point, Stu, do you think any of Mayweather's? Do you think Mayweather's great grandchildren will be multi-millionaires? Like, do you think he's developed generational wealth? Because when you have that kind of money, old school money, and not to put him on.
I hope so. Because it'd be an absolute tragedy if Mayweather's future family are suffering and not doing well because he's blown millions and millions of dollars on hookers and fucking Bugattis. And it's a sad story, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
any man that's made $500 million. I mean, surely you're looking to look after the future families for years to come, aren't you? You are. Any proud man would be looking to look after his children, his grandchildren, even you know, his
I would be pretty
great-grandchildren.
pissed off if I've made $500 million and I'm like, you know, let's say I look at my bank account and I got like $2 million left. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
well, you get a it too. I'm sorry, Pavel.
No, I was just gonna say, Jimmy, it's okay. I was just gonna say it's, you know, the truly wealthy people that made their cash from nothing, they know not to show it off, you know, by buying expensive stuff, you know, clothes. Because the one guy that I know, and he's very wealthy, you know, the dude still dresses in, you know, plain clothes, earth-toned clothes, and he still drives an old Toyota Corolla from '95, I think. So it's like he doesn't show that he's wealthy because he knows that it will attract bad people towards him.
Or maybe he's
I was around
faking
I was around a friend's house, right? I was sitting there, we was chilling, playing on a PlayStation, and this guy come round, right? He turned up in this white van, just a crappy little white van, had these jeans on, his trampy shoes, his fucking ass was hanging out of his jeans, proper builder's ass, do you know what I mean? Fucking looked a mess. and when he left, my mate turned around and goes, you can see that guy there? He goes, he's a multi-millionaire. And to look at him, man, you wouldn't think he's got 2 fucking pennies to rub together.
That's the key, man. The key is to go low, to go under the radar, not above it or on the radar, because people start realizing you got money. And unless you're going to be walking around protected at all times, and even that doesn't guarantee you anything.
Yeah,
exactly. And
well, you know,
just to remind everybody, just a little reminder that money, we're talking about all this money and everything, but money does not buy you happiness. I think we can all agree with that. And I want to reference Matthew 6:21, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So that's just a little nugget of wisdom from Christian BDA. Carry on, gentlemen.
Well, I'm going to blow up a spot, but some of you guys know that kid Ego, right, on Twitter? Well, on the way down, I met him on the way down to Triple G Jacobs at his house in Connecticut. Well, it wasn't his house. It was I met him at his parents' house. And listen, when I tell you obscene wealth, like fucking, there was a gate.
Oh shit! Everybody dropped off. Hold on. I want to let Jimmy finish this story when he comes back, because I'm a little confused. By the way, did he say Boxing Ego has a shitload of money, or
I think so? Yeah, Ego Kid.
All right, Jimmy's back.
I got bossed off.
Just to clarify, Jimmy, are you saying?
Did you say Boxing Ego?
No, not that. Ego's biggest, EJ, on Twitter.
Oh, Haymanites.
Yeah, Haymanites. Yeah, I went by and I met him, and where he said, "Well, it's easier to meet at my mom's place," and I'll tell you guys, obscene wealth. The money that kid was raised. Listen, he's going to hear the show and fucking flip out on me. But there was a gate, and I'm like, oh, he lives in a gated community. And the guy with a fucking security dude comes over, and I was like, oh, which house? He goes, there's only one house. I'm like, his parents have a security guard? I'm like, what the fuck? But he comes driving down the driveway. He's like, hey, what's up? But I was like, where'd your family make the money? He goes, in lumber. I'm like, lumber? He's around here? And he's like, oh, no, back in the 1700s. So I was like, okay. So you see, my point was generational money. I was like, so wow, so they cut some trees down, huh? Did they? He's like, yeah, I guess they cut a few. But yeah,
I mean, I was watching that MTV Teenage Cribs. You know, where these parents have designed their houses for their children, sort of thing. Where they've got their own basketball court. I mean, some of the wealth in America is fucking ridiculous. Some of these people, some of the houses. I mean, they had waterfalls turning into swimming pools in their landing and shit. They had like cinemas and their own McDonald's. These fucking kids.
Well, Michael Jordan's house, man. Jesus Christ.
One guy had his own baseball. One guy had his own baseball field with the stands. The local team played there because it was I mean, fucking hell.
Yeah, he told me some stories, but he went like his parents, I guess, were pretty strict on him. Like he's not close with his grandfather, who controls the money. I guess his grandfather sold the house that he was living in, that he raised in, like he would go visit, with $33 million. So that kind of tells you, you know what I mean? Like crazy, but he said it wasn't like that for him, because if you didn't think like his grandfather, he controlled everything. So he's kind of the black sheep, but a good dude. So I'm not trying to say he's like one of those silver spoon freaks. Obviously he was. He didn't want for nothing. Yeah. You know, he probably could fucking land a plane in his house, but who knows, though? It doesn't mean happiness. He says that all the kids he grew up with were all fucking drug addicts and miserable. He said, you have no idea. So that goes right to your point, dude, BDA. Money don't buy happiness. And he says that all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, we were talking about the Charlos also, who got conned by a bunch of by the way, there weren't transvestites. That's just what I heard. I'm trying to start a rumor here. Also, have any of you have to watch out if you ever go to Paris, because they have what they call the Guatemalan snatch away, and it's an old trick. Is somebody comes up to you with a map, and they go, "Excuse me, do you know where this is?" Blah blah blah, and then they put the map in front of you, and they hope that you put your briefcase or bag down or whatever, and then a Guatemalan midget comes in and snatches it away. And they were talking about that. They were talking about that in a document. I know, it's funny.
A little chocolatito.
But they never mentioned in the documentary that I watched. In the documentary that I watched, they never said why it had to be a Guatemalan. I guess they run fast or something, but that's what they said. Check it out, the Guatemalan snatch away. Also, I was.
It's in the movie. Hey, it's in the movie Taken. That shit happens in France, you know.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. And especially in Europe for organ harvesting, they kidnap people and just take out whatever they need. New liver, new kidneys, delicious. And
Taken, mate. That's not far off. That's what happens, especially with them Albanians and the Eastern European gangs. And yeah, Paris is a fucking hellhole. Let's be real. I mean, why would you want to take your missus there to have a romantic weekend? So you both get fucking stabbed up or something, or robbed. Fucking horrible place.
But I want that. Yeah,
I mean, let's be real. I mean, I don't really like the French at the best of times. So going to Paris is the last on my fucking list.
I was about to say, the UK and French have always had a thing. Yeah. I liked Paris. I was there in 2001, so that was a while ago when I was there.
Oh, it's changed.
It's funny when BDA was talking about the French claiming they won the war earlier. I mean, made me laugh. I mean, General Patton had a saying, you know, the American General Patton, he had a saying that he'd rather have a German army in front of him than a French one behind him.
Burned right there, man. Fucking Patton. By the way, we were also talking about XXX Tentacion, which is the rapper that ended up getting shot. I'm putting up the picture right there. Apparently, yeah, that's the thing. He got shot 20-something times. You know Frank Warren. That would have been a walk in the park for him. He would have stepped out of that car and like, were you motherfuckers trying to shoot me? Because I didn't feel that shit. What's going on?
Frank would have caught him in his mouth, shoot him up, and spit the bullets back at him.
Hey, Frank would have been at a press conference the same night, arranging a fucking Liam Walsh, a Liam Smith fight or something. Oh, we've got great news. Sorry, I'm a bit groggy today. Just took 25 bullets in my head, but life goes on, and there's a big fight coming up. You can see it now, isn't it?
Oh man!
Don't mind the blood, eh?
But it's interesting, man. Going back to boxing, there's been, I don't know if you guys have been following the whole rumors. First of all, again, Triple G versus Canelo, the saga continues. They didn't do a press conference for this one. They're not going to do a HBO face-off, but they did hold a over satellite, like a teleconference. I don't know what they call it essentially. And let me tell you, first of all, the translator for Canelo Alvarez, he's also an employee, a pretty high up employee of Golden Boy Promotions. I forget what the guy's name is, but he's a horrible as a translator. He should just stick to being an executive or something.
Just hire a real translator, man.
Exactly.
They're not doing a 24. You mean we're not going to be able to see Max Kellerman sitting with a fucking chair turned around?
Yeah,
let's be real.
That's so unfortunate.
I think Canelo's embarrassed by all this, and I think that's why.
He should be.
I don't think you can look Golovkin in the eye. Well, how could you be when you've cheated against the guy, man? I think it's pure embarrassment for Canelo, and I don't think. Let's be real, that fight's going to sell anyway.
Oh yeah.
I mean, do we really need Max Kellerman sitting there kissing their asses for half an hour for us to buy it? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a fucking creep.
You know what I hate about Kellerman? I mean,
he's got that annoying voice as well. You know when black comedians take the mick out of white people, how they talk. It makes me laugh because the way they do it, it actually sounds like Max Kellerman. They've got him down to a T. He's got that geeky, fucking just one of them. You know what I mean, don't you?
Kellerman's
like
not the worst.
Salesman.
He's a car salesman. he's a. Did you want to rephrase that, Pavel, based on his ethnicity?
He just, I've said it before, he just gives me off that vibe of a fucking journeyman stockbroker on Wall Street or a fucking car salesman.
All right, at least
he's a glorified car salesman. That's what.
What does he do?
Kellerman, he started out as a fucking rapper, and then he did a podcast or he did a YouTube channel.
I'm
just
telling you,
no, it wasn't YouTube.
Just
this
caught
guy
on.
was on public access, Manhattan public access, talking boxing,
just like anybody else.
Yeah, that's.
But you know, and he's Jewish, and he had connections. Don't think for a second that didn't help.
No.
That
I'm just saying it did.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on the Young Turk soon, man. He's just a.
But you know what?
Listen, boxing's too organic. You can't go in like he'll sit at his computer and think of a fucking story. He'll have probably 4 or 5 of them on little post-it notes, and he waits for different parts of the fight so he can slip them in near these stupid soliloquies when it has nothing to do with the fight.
He's trying to be like
it
Larry
reminds me
Merchant.
of the fight of 19. Yeah, it's like, dude, just you know what? Just shut the fuck up, dude.
He
Talk about
was
fighters.
of 1848. Jack Bluntfield.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Like, no,
Hey,
I've never heard
I
of
know how
Jack
to shut
Bluntfield.
I know how to shut Kellerman up, innit? I know how to shut him up. Just mention James Butler's name, innit?
Oh, come on.
Cold-blooded.
Come on.
Cold-blooded.
No.
Stu
Yeah, how about
comes out swinging.
How about 2005, James Butler? Do you remember him?
Yeah,
You remember
Hey,
him,
how about your
Max?
dead brother?
Oh my God! This is so
I
wrong.
told you somebody yelled that shit at Triple G Jacobs. Somebody yelled that sitting next to me.
No,
I didn't know them, they weren't with me, but somebody yelled that.
Look, listen.
Yeah, they got the wrong brother.
Oh, come, see, listen. I'm
that was cringeworthy. I was like, come on.
I'm not the
You know
biggest
what's funny?
Kellerman
His
fan,
public
but-
access channel sounded something like this, right? So it'd be a bunch of prank phone calls. Be like, yeah, how you doing? I'm doing well. You know you're a geek. Click. Anyway, next caller.
That's
he
the
was trying to be the Jerky Boys. You guys are
yeah.
too young to remember them.
Oh yeah, the Jerky Boys,
You look
legendary.
like the kind of guy I used to smack the shit. Click. You'll hear smack and then click.
All right, first of all, I gotta clarify something here. I'm not the biggest Max Kellerman fan, as you can probably tell. But yeah, that whole thing about the brother, that's going people screaming.
Yeah,
By the way,
that's a little. Look, man,
that's
fucked up.
That's fucked up.
It was. And the
Imagine.
sad part is, man, people were laughing.
Fucked up.
We can have a laugh on this podcast about it because he's not going to hear it. The likelihood is Max Kellerman's not listening to BDA Boxing right now. So, but when it's there in front of him,
never know.
But when it's there, when it's there and you're shouting it in his face, I mean, I would never do that. Disrespectful. Because at the end of the day, man, anyone that loses it, I mean, I couldn't imagine losing my brother, especially
it's decorum. I don't give a fuck what he's done. It's certain things. It's just decorum, man. It's like,
exactly.
Come on. It's just fucking crossing the line. You know what I mean? It's like if you have to go there, then fucking whatever. It says more about you.
You had to have standards, and that's the why I wanted to tell Pavel. I'm glad because you were saying that he was a journeyman. You were comparing Kellerman to a journeyman banker. I'm glad you didn't say the word Shylock. That would have been too far, and that would have been considered anti-Semitic. So I'm glad you didn't go there. You just kept it at banker, and that was it. So they're good for you, Pavel. But
he's a journeyman merchant.
A Venetian merchant. But listen, what about Kellerman? He's a wealth of knowledge. That's you got to give him that at least. He does know his shit about boxing history.
He's like the boxing librarian on YouTube. Same shit.
Yeah, in 1722, there was a guy by the name of Henry the Bronco. You ever heard of him? Henry the Bronco? He went 520.
Oh shit! I think they got us shut down because everybody dropped off. I think. There we go. Yeah, he was listening.
BDA.
Yeah,
mate. Did you see the HBO coverage of Joshua Klitschko? I mean, Kellerman was in his element, mate. He loved it. It reminded him of the good old days when Jack Dempsey fought fucking Judge Willard and all that. Do you know what I mean? It's like rolling out the names. He was.
Oh, please don't tell me.
Still there?
Yeah.
This fight reminds me of Jack Dempsey versus Max Baer, or whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah.
Like, was you there? Was you there?
Is it true there? Is that rumor? Does he really have a fucking Andre Ward tattoo on his arm, though? Is that just a rumor? Or?
I hope it's a rumor.
That's that's ridiculous.
He didn't want to give it away. He didn't want to give it away with his face, so he's just got fucking SOG fucking on his bum cheek.
You hold a special place in my ass.
Yeah.
You're always welcome.
Shit, fucking reminds him of Andre Ward, doesn't
it? His wife is highly disappointed in him.
Yeah. Mind you, that's probably he's probably got that SOG on his bum cheek, so fucking Ward can read it when he's taking him from behind. Do you know what
I was gonna say SOG, his lower back.
Speaking of SOG, when is he going to make the announcement he's fighting at light heavyweight? I mean, fighting some no-name heavyweight or something he can cash in on. I still think that's going to happen.
Tony Bellew.
I don't care about that.
Ward's too small for heavyweight, man. He's too
but because he keeps he's tweeting out shit on Instagram, still getting ready, or got big things coming. I think he's going to pull something snaky.
The only thing that's coming is his cock in Kellerman's ass, man.
What a disgrace.
Listen.
There's so many like heavyweights and he just runs away.
I know, terrible.
Come on.
Listen, the Kellerman, jeez. Ward, I think that what he wants to do is take on... Same thing. Yeah, same thing. I think he wants that Tony Bellew payday. But if you guys don't think that even at cruiserweight he can be competitive?
I think Bellew's a hard fight. I think Bellew's a very hard fight for him. I'll pick Tony Bellew in that one.
Is that fight going to take place where? In the UK?
It'd be Vegas.
Oakland.
Yeah.
Oakland, yeah.
He definitely wouldn't be in Europe. No way.
If it's in the backyard of one of these bad neighborhoods in Oakland, I don't think Bellew has a shot in hell. But if it's like in the UK, maybe they might.
They haven't even announced the fight, and fucking Ward's already up by 3 rounds. Kidding me? That's just going to be in Vegas, and it's going to be the usual suspects.
Let's be real. I think Bellew. I mean, I know people say Bellew's a cruiserweight, but right now he makes heavyweight quite comfortably. So he is a heavyweight for right now. And Andre Ward was a small light heavyweight. I mean, he weren't. Don't get me wrong. He weren't a midget. He held his own in size, but he weren't a massive light heavyweight. To go up to heavyweight, I mean, even if you fight Bellew at cruiserweight on the night, he's going to be a heavyweight. I just think that's going to.
I think he's got people in his ear because
the jump from 75 to cruiserweight is like 20 odd pounds. Do you know what I mean? 20 pounds, whatever. That's a massive jump, man.
Well, he says he was suffering at 175. He was getting real hard for him to make 175. And he thinks he could fight like a Muhammad Ali 190, 195 type size and weight.
Yeah, but he's not fighting. He's not fighting Floyd Patterson, though, is he? And
no, exactly. No, listen. I'm just telling you what he says, dude. Believe me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not a Ward fan, kid, and I'm not gonna get. He's not gonna get any props from
Tony
me.
Bellew weighs like 215 going in the ring. Bellew's about 215, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Bellew will be a heavyweight on the night.
No, listen. If Andre Ward fights Tony Bellew, he's beating him. He knows what he's doing. He's gonna look. I'm not saying that he will, legitimately beat him, but he's gonna win the fight.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, I mean, just it's the weight difference. I mean, not the skills. Let's be real. Andre Ward's a lot better fighter than Tony Bellew. I'm not stupid. I've got eyes and they work.
I wouldn't say that.
But there's the reason.
I wouldn't say.
Well, he's established more. Let's be real. I mean, he's established more. Let's just say that, and he's unbeaten, and he's achieved things that Tony Bellew hasn't. So you've got to put him ahead of Bellew. But when you put on all that weight and you take other things into account, that he's been inactive. Bellew's coming off 2 good wins. All right, the guy was a cripple, but still 2 good wins. Bellew's improving every day. he gets in a ring, where Andre Ward's sitting at home twiddling his thumbs. Do you know what I mean? So you got to take all these things.
In the UK, it's a fair fight. I think it'll be a fair fight. You know, they won't fuck Andre Ward over because they probably want him to come back again. You know, so yeah, I think it'd be more fair. But if it's in Vegas, expect the same thing.
Yeah,
expect the same, more or less the same stuff. Where he'll low shit gets rough, it's gonna get rough and dirty.
So you don't think? Go ahead, Paul.
No, I was, you know what, go on, BDA, because I was trying to change the subject.
Yeah, I was just gonna add about Ward versus either Gassiev or Usyk, whether that would be, whether he would have a shot.
Don't, man.
No.
Nah, that's not gonna end well for Ward. Gassiev will knock Ward clean out. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah. And I think Usyk will stop him too. Usyk will stop him with accumulations of punches.
Oh yeah, he would never go up against Gassiev. Kid, that power! Oh my God, he'd decapitate Ward. He knows that.
Yeah,
he's not going to put it. If anything, we know one thing. He'll put himself in the best possible position to win, no matter who he fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Ward is like 6 feet, right? 6 feet, 6'1". These guys are 6'3", 6'4". Like, what's he gonna do? Can he outbox them? Can he outmuscle them? Especially at that way. Like, I think he's shit out of ideas if he goes up to heavyweight or cruiserweight. He should stay right. He should talk to his dietitian, his chemist, and just say, "Listen, I want to stay at 175. Can we work this out?" Because going up to cruiserweight and heavyweight, bad news. Bad news.
It's not what you do when you're 34 years old, when you're slowing down physically. You know what I mean? And the only way that you can go there and do anything real is you have to be slick and be able to move. You're going to have to use your speed and their size against them. You're not going to do that at 35 and inactive with 20 pounds on your body for the first time.
Exactly. And I'm taking it, a lot of the guys in this hangout right now think that Ward's got problems at 175. Would you say that Ward dominates these guys at 175? These new breed coming through. I mean,
he knows that. I said that. I don't think he'd beat. I think Bivol will take him apart, and I think that's one of the reasons why he left.
Yep. Well, there you go. And if this guy's got 175 problems, then he should forget about the cruiserweight division and the heavyweight division.
Well, let's be honest. He's 1-1 against Kovalev. That's history. Will say but it is what it is. He got robbed. The first one was a gift. The second one was called on a low blow. He fucking knew it was time to piss on the fire and call the dogs. He was all out. He wasn't getting any more gifts. So he wasn't going to go against any of those dudes.
Yeah, the thing with Andre Ward, what I've noticed with Andre Ward, I think why he quit boxing, because he knew he couldn't get the love from the fans. He just can't change his style. It's bred into him. It's like a Cuban school of boxing sort of thing that's bred into you from a child, and you just can't change
shit about the fence. But I don't think he gives a single fuck.
No, this is where it does. He has to care about the fans.
Hang on a sec, please, Jim. I'm not saying he cares about the fans. He cares about being loved and appreciated. But he gets hurt, doesn't he? That he don't get the respect he deserves. He's always talking about, I don't get the respect I deserve. And I think it gets to him. And I think after the Kovalev, I mean, there's disgraceful 2 wins. I think it did him more harm than good.
Well, clean up your act. Clean up your fucking act.
Well, you got to also take this into consideration. HBO also at this. Listen, a lot went into that second fight. There was a lot of things counting on that, depending on that fight. Ward Kovalev win was by far his biggest fight in history, right? The second fight did less pay-per-view numbers in boxing in the industry. That's like curry, you know what I mean? That's like death. So that was it. HBO fucking cut him loose. See, they offered him, from what I was told, he could stay, but at a dramatic cut. And that's when because at first he didn't announce he was retired until he went and did a broadcast on ESPN. It was rumored he was going to sign with Top Rank because his contract was done with Roc Nation. And when the money that was offered to him, the big cut, he was so offended. And of course, there's Peter Nelson saying, dude, your second fight did less then you're first. The fact that we're even talking to you, dude, you're the last gold medalist, you're a big guy, and your numbers are so putrid, they borderline embarrassing, and it did less numbers than the first.
Jimmy,
so you're not
the
getting
reason
good money.
They
tossed a lot of money at him, too.
I actually think that first Ward Kovalev fight, I actually think it put a lot of people off boxing. A lot of people, because it turned me off boxing for a while. It was disgraceful, and I think
the
second one was even worse. What he was allowed to do. So, RJ Ward has put a lot of people off boxing. He's left a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouth. And I think this is where the criticism and the hatred towards Ward comes from, because he has achieved a lot in boxing and he has got skills, but he just doesn't want to be exciting. He just wants to win at any cost. It doesn't matter how he does it. And I think.
Now, that's the type of, but Ward will say what you just said. He'll say, look at gold medal. He'll bring it all up. Look at these belts. Look at these titles. Super 6. Gold, all this shit on the table. Look at me. I want my respect. And then the people on the other side of the table just say 130,000 pay-per-views for your second fight. We don't care about all this is window dressing and smoke, bro. You have been a fucking financial albatross who's ever signed you. Goosen lost money on him. Roc Nation lost a fortune on him, and HBO sunk millions into him, and they lost their shirt. And then they even try to fucking have him as a announce whatever. I think that's for money they owed him from him retiring or whatever. But listen, he's been a financial burden, and he knows that, and that's part of the chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, you're spot on, Jimmy. The thing with Ward, right, he's asking for these ridiculous fees, yet bringing nothing in return. It's just like a charity case. He thinks everyone's a charity case where, are you going to pay me what I'm worth? I've did this, but you've got to bring something back in return. Companies are not just going to give you money.
Roc Nation lost millions on each fight. Millions between the promotions and what did they sign him? It was like a $40 million signing bonus or some ridiculous thing. Oh no, that was Cotto, but it was insane.
Guys,
and they lost his shirt.
Do you think they would have got their money back off that Broner deal?
No way.
No,
absolutely
exactly.
Not. No, God no.
Yeah,
no, that division lost a ton of money. Went right under.
At that point, Roc Nation was just desperate to sign anybody. I mean, they were just like not even thinking about the financial obligations that they would have to pay what's his name, Broner, and what they were going to get back. It was not going to add up. No way.
Jay-Z opened the faucet, let him take a lot of initial startup money, and being in a record game, if you don't, money turns quick. If you put money into CDs, music, whatever, and if it don't come back quick, you cut it loose. He opened up, they signed a bunch of knuckleheads, no money made, and bang, it was over. They shut the faucet off. They didn't do any promotions on any of their big fights. They got Daniel Twitch took a head injury on their dime,
Jay-Z
and they won't even
listen to me.
And they won't even tweet out anything on his behalf. Those cocksuckers.
And fuck, recognize the Matrix.
What up, X?
What's going on? I see that. I see that.
Are you upset because
we're
X? Are you upset because we're bashing your brother Andre Ward?
Damn right, you haters, you white devils, you agents for white supremacy.
Isn't Andre Ward white?
No, his father was black Irish.
That was the bad side.
There was black people over there.
You know what?
X, shut the fuck up. I'll smack the shit out of you.
Oh.
Hang on a minute. That's history just made. Recognize and X have just spoke on the same show at the same time.
Bring it, motherfucker. Yeah. I ain't scared of you.
Yeah. X is always, I always get the feeling X was always avoiding.
You little man.
Oh, he's not answering.
You heard me. I said I'm not scared of you, little man. Come on.
I think you got him stumped there, recognize? And now all of a sudden, first time you've ever been on the... Oh.
Yeah, you can't. Shit. Talking all that shit. I'm from Southside Jamaica.
Southside Jamaica.
Oh, wait, go about
faggots over there.
Roc Nation, like, did they really think they were going to make money with Andre Ward? Like, I don't understand. Like, did they even do any research on boxing? Like, with the big names war or anything? Like, I don't understand. Like,
I mean, boxing is what have you done for me lately? and Ward after the Super Six didn't do shit. So,
Well, exactly.
how were they thinking?
Good point. And by the way, welcome apology. I didn't even know you were there. We're about to end soon, so but glad we could have you here in a couple of for a couple of minutes. And
apology, you just hate on my brother Ward. Okay, tell the truth. Okay, you down with recognize the devil, the Satan of sons, and all those punks that come on my channel talking shit.
Listen, Ward's boring. You know it and I know it.
That's not true.
That is true. It very is true. Like, at least
Ward is the son of Jesus. That's why he retired.
At least pick a better brother like Broner. At least Broner's a sign. But Ward, please. I put in his fights so I can go to sleep. Listen,
Broner's a good kid. Okay? But he ain't no Andre Ward. He ain't the son of God. The son
At least
of
he's
Jesus.
exciting. He's exciting. He can get knockouts when he puts in the effort. Like all Ward fights are boring or far-fest.
Well,
no one wants to see that shit.
Talking all that shit when he stomped to the ground. Okay?
All right, listen. Here's the thing about Andrew Ward. This is a business. Boxing is a business. Doesn't matter how
Andre
many.
Ward's a bum.
Okay, now hold on. Why you gotta stop provoking X? All right, recognize.
He's a bum, and X is a bum too. I'll smack the tar of his teeth.
Now wait a minute. We're trying to have a friendly conversation here. Come on.
Yeah, go ahead. Try that. Try that shit. Come on.
Well, I've been trying
to.
I
know you on HGH. Come on.
Yeah, recognize it's on HGH, man. That's why he pumps up with HGH and then he goes to oh shit, everybody fell off again. Yeah, he pumps himself up with HGH and then he goes to look for fights at MSG. Look, boxing, I've said it before and I've said it again just to remind everybody that might not have had listen to this. Boxing is a business. Doesn't matter how many gold medals you have, how many trophies, how many championship belts. If you can't sell, if you're not entertaining, you're not gonna earn millions. I don't know how Ward just earned himself because people thought he was gonna be the next Mayweather, and so HBO scooped him off of or under rather Showtime. So they said, "Oh, we got another big American star here." Didn't quite pan out. Because say what you want about Mayweather, at least when it came to putting on a show, sometimes he would deliver, like when he did against Gatti, or the way he pressed forward against Zab Judah. Like he could be aggressive when he wanted to. Ward, his idea of aggression was clinch more and fight more on the inside. That was it.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
And play the race card and attack Triple G. He was the one who started with that little G bullshit.
Andrew Ward.
Because he was sitting out, he was inactive. Remember, he was sitting out for 2 years, and he attached his name to Triple G just for the press.
Yeah, Andrew
People thought
Ward
he was serious. Fucking ridiculous.
And you know what, Jimmy? I think he was commentating one of the Triple G's fight. I think it was against Grzegorz Proksa, his HBO debut. And he was part of the commentating crew, right? And after the fight, they asked him, well, what do you think about Triple G? And he's like, wow, he's like one of the guys that has the biggest potential in this game and all those praises. So I think he just noticed that the Triple G who came up pretty late, into the American market, he just in a lesser time he received more praise than Ward for his whole career, and he got salty.
I gotta correct you there. Wasn't it Roy Jones who was doing the commentary for the Proska Golovkin fight?
I'm not sure. I'm sure that he was an analyst, like a boxing analyst for one of the Triple G's fights. But
Macklin.
I'm not
It was
sure.
Matthew Macklin.
Yeah,
Matthew Macklin. I remember
exactly. Yeah,
I think it would have, yeah, I think that's what it might have been. And by the way, for Ward to raise the race card against Kovalev, Ward is just as white as Kovalev is. Come on, he's part Irish. This guy's not black. I've seen blacker people.
He's white.
Exactly, he's white. For all intents and purposes, I'm claiming. White. I think white people should claim him as white. Come on, get a championship on the team there.
Listen,
they can have him.
BJ, white people don't want him. Black people don't want him. No one wants this sorry ass.
Do you know what? It's a shame really, because Andre Ward actually is a nice guy. He's a good father to his kids. He's a good husband. He goes about life. He goes about life the right way. He is, but it's just the way he fights and the way he plays the victim, that it just rolls people up the wrong way. I don't think it's his character. Where like Adrian Brown is a piece of shit outside the ring. We all know that. I don't think you can say that about Andre Ward. I just think it's the way he fights.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. If we were sat around the table and talk with Ward one-on-one, I think he would be a good guy to talk with. But it's just like you said before, the off-putting thing is just his media presence.
Yeah. Well, I can. No, I was going to tell you from somebody I know who met him. And what the impression they got from him, they said they got the impression he didn't like white people, and he was around them for like 3 hours at a signing.
Really?
That's what he said. Yeah. He said, goes, what'd you think of War? He's like, got the impression he don't like white people. That's exactly what he said. I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, oh yeah. He identifies as black. His wife's black. Everything his life is black.
He seems like one of those mixed guys that the only white person he loved was his father. That was it.
Are you guys?
And he OD'd, and he's angry with them, and he identifies as black. He does black causes. He's very almost militant black in a lot of his thinking.
Are you saying he's a self-hating white guy? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, he hates his white side. Like he hates the Irish part. His father. Listen, man, the kid is he well mannered, and does he speak well? I think so. I think that he seems approachable. He's not like an asshole outside the ring.
He's an intelligent cat. No, he's an intelligent cat too.
Like he seems pretty smart. You're not gonna get pure ignorance out of him. The problem with him is that he's fake.
Mm-hmm.
He's manufactured. Okay, I'm not saying he's not good. That doesn't mean he's not good. It's just that he's not as good as the product they're trying to sell you. That's why he did terrible on HBO and pay-per-views and all that. You
got Jim Lampley sitting right next to him. Imagine being him. He sees his numbers. He knows what he's getting paid. He knows his viewer numbers. He knows what HBO's paying him. He knows what they're paying Triple G. They hear the crowd, Triple G. He knows they're selling on this Jim Lampley. Oh, everybody loves a knockout on, and he's just like, but his inside of his mouth is full of blood. He's angry and shit. But yeah, I know he was bitter and I just don't like the shit he pulled. Get a whole fucking bunch of knuckleheads saying he ducked him. It's like, dude, you haven't fought at that weight in 2 years. Then you're getting ready for a catchweight fight. During that training camp, probably feeling really good about yourself, 180. I'll fight him at 168, gets his name in the press. And then he finally gets down to fucking fighting Smith. Right after the fight, said he felt like dog shit. Told reporters in on HBO, never again am I going anywhere near 68. But now all of a sudden, Triple G ducked that fight. Oh, and he was going to fight him without warm-ups too? Come on. Although he needed 2 for Kovalev. And everybody who spied both of them says Triple G hits as hard, if not harder, and he's technically better and he's in better condition. But yet, he was going to take him on after 2 years with no warm-ups at initiated weight. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, people were saying that about, Ward. Because Chad Dawson called him out. He says, hey, I'm willing to fight at 168. And Ward said, then come on down, big boy. But he wasn't willing to do that for Triple G. So, I mean, again, listen, that fight's never going to happen. So, but yeah, Ward does give me, I've said it before, he gives me the impression that he's a bit of a fake personality. And now that you tell me that he's a self-hating white guy, I mean, that just seals the deal for me. You should be taking advantage of your whiteness. Why not? A lot of privilege out there. That's what they always say. Privilege, white privilege. And all of a sudden he hates his white side? Come on. There's something wrong with him.
What's that white privilege? Like that white privilege. Can I say something? My girl just read me a thing. It's out right now. Is an Indian doctor who was in college. And I guess Indians and Chinese, you have to have the highest score because they go by, race and score, whatnot. So what he did, he shaved his head and he pretended he went as black. And he got accepted into all these medical programs.
Yeah,
I've got the link. You see the same thing, yeah. Crazy. Just to prove the hardest thing is white. You got to have like a 99.9 because government funds and grants and shit. So this whole white privilege is bullshit.
Now I do agree with the whole thing that it's bullshit, but you got to give it up to that guy. Pretty innovative, like he wanted to get into the college and he went to the extreme, and I do I agree. Listen, if you wanna, nowadays everybody's allowed to do whatever they want. If you wanna think that you're transracial, why not? You know, one day you're Guatemalan, a Guatemalan midget, another day.
You know, so guys, judging by that, would it be enough for me when I want to apply to Harvard or Stanford? Would it be enough for me to put a blackface on me and just roll with it?
Now wait a minute.
Well, he did it out of college. I'm talking about getting hired at like the top hospitals. He identified as black getting out of college too. So it like got him. He wanted to prove a point. So he's like, so you passed on applicants for this job who are more qualified than, you know, and it was a big thing, you know, and he's like, so wait a minute, how come I got the job? And so you're telling me that people who are more qualified aren't getting hired for jobs that deal with human life because of color or skin.
Yeah.
So that's that's a fact. This isn't my opinion.
Yeah, seriously, it's like, imagine the pool of doctors that you're gonna have like after 20 years or 30 years of those diversity quotas.
I tell you what, though,
you would have none because they'll all be shit. Because it'll be based on diversity and not skill.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'd rather have an unqualified, a guy who shouldn't have gone to medical school. I'd rather have him taking care of my you know, my therapy and all that, whatever you want to call my treatment, than a dentist who is qualified but who's a pervert. Because when they grab you in the back of the head.
I watched a vid on YouTube the other day where, under the Obama administration, they were hiring and cheating the tests, right, for black air traffic control people. Because so basically, they were giving people that weren't qualified for the job, a job like that, which is very people's lives at risk for the sake of diversity. That's when it becomes dangerous. When diversity comes before people's lives, and this is how mentally ill people like Barack Obama are, where he's getting these people to cheat the tests, basically hire people that are not qualified to. And I mean, these people were turning away pilots with years of experience for people that didn't have any experience and weren't qualified for the job just for the sake of diversity. That's dangerous.
What's wrong with
that?
It's
all about federal grants. You know what I mean? Companies get a lot of federal money. Tax breaks if they hire a certain quota. They need certain minorities.
Yeah, well, but when you're dealing with people's lives, I don't care who the air traffic controller is. So anyone that thinks I'm racist, I couldn't give a fuck. As long as he knows what he's doing, mate, and he's going to get my plane safely on that fucking.
Oh, I'm 100% with what you're saying. 100%.
The problem that these far left neoliberals that play this identity politics shit is that, like Stu said, it becomes dangerous, and you're not actually helping whoever you feel like you're sticking up for when you're actually giving them lower standards. You can't possibly be doing them a favor.
Yeah.
And by the way,
everybody got a trophy culture is fucking these kids up because they don't know what it is. That, you know, the people who succeed don't get treated any better than the kids who don't try.
Exactly. And look at it like this: you say you hire a black guy who's not good enough for this job, and he makes a mistake, and two jumbo jets collide, and 500-600 people are dead. That is going to be on that guy's. That's going to ruin that guy's life, man. So you're not doing him any favors.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Let him learn the job like any other man would. Let him be good enough to do it. Let him understand the situations, how to read the screens. Then, fair enough. I don't care what color he is. Just get the fucking plane safe on the runway. And when you're hiring people, when you're hiring people that are not qualified, not good enough for the job, for the sake of filling quotas, then we're in a real dangerous times. And this is the sickness that is coming from the left.
How did we get
a video about that real
quick?
You know what's
good, you?
Oh no, I was going to say, I just saw it on Twitter. That I guess they arrested him. It looks like maybe a dark-skinned Spanish or black guy. He walked over teenagers. A kid had a Whopper or whatever, Make America Great hat on. So the kid working there literally came over. It was like a Burger King or a restaurant or whatever. Took the kid's large drink, took the kid's hat off off his head, threw the dude's drink in his face, walked away swearing, saying, fuck, support Make America Green, like just belittled him. But I couldn't believe it. Just because he had a Trump hat on. It's like all of a sudden the left think it's all right to intimidate and actually physically assault people.
Three
You know
piece,
what I mean?
Jimmy.
It's
You know this. You know this. It's almost the climate in America, the political atmosphere in America. You cannot say you voted for Donald Trump. You can't even say it. You can't. You are risking. You're risking like definitely some major problems down the line. Losing your job, physically attacked. Okay, you cannot say it. It's like a secret. Especially
this
in
is
New
why
York.
you can't.
Especially
This is
here
why
in New
you
York.
can't really. These polls that say Trump's not doing well, and all this, you can't really listen to them because most Trump supporters will not admit it to anyone that they support him.
Yeah,
it's only when
Trump support Trump right now. Listen, because the media the media is supposed to just report the news. They don't. They report what they want you to hear. Because obviously, if you listen to the media, you would think Trump is doing a horrible job. He has an approval rating right now of 48%. It was higher than what Obama's was at the same time in his presidency. But you're not going to hear that because the media is the left and they're just pumping an agenda. And I'll tell you right now, I can't stand Nazis. I can't stand bigoted KKK fucks. But I would protest in the streets, allowing them to protest, because that's what this country's all about. The minute you start silencing people with physical threats, that's like pre-fucking 33 Nazi shit. Fuck that.
Well, that's
You know what I mean? I ain't got time for
the
that.
doctrine. Isn't that the doctrine?
the left.
The left doctrine is this. This is what I'm observing. The left doctrine is to accuse you of what they're going to do, which is oppress your speech, right? Make you live in secret. You can't say how you really feel. I mean, isn't that the true meaning of oppression? I can't say I voted for Trump. Not that.
Oh crikey! People fell off again. My goodness.
Why do I never go off? Why is that? I don't know why. I always stay on with you, don't I?
Damn, I can't say I voted for Trump.
Well,
look, right? I can't openly say I voted for Trump, especially where I grew up at. I can definitely never say that.
Yeah, but the thing is, what the left are doing is they are driving more people to conservatives,
Absolutely.
to Trump,
that's a fact.
Right,
that's a statistical fact right now.
To the far, honestly, mate,
that's right.
These far right groups are growing because of people from the left with their bullying tactics.
My girlfriend's big into politics, and they have a doctrine right now. The right is saying, "Don't say nothing." If you notice, the right's being quiet. They're saying, "Don't say nothing. Just let them talk." Maxine Waters is out, pumping up her, people to go after and harass people at the house. So they're making videos, the right now, just using their own words. The shit that the left is saying, it's ridiculous. It's driving people to the right.
The right doesn't even have to do anything, Jimmy. The right don't even have to do anything.
Sit back and let these idiots make fools of themselves. Talking about
the left. The left are poking a bear. They're poking a bear, mate, and it's gonna.
The right's in charge of the military. That's all they got to remember. They always will be, and that's what it is.
Yeah, hold on. Can I say something real quick about this whole situation?
Good apology.
What you guys saying is true, but I have a different alternative theory to it. First of all, I believe that these people are just cowards. That some of them are not even legit. They're just doing it for the money. And the second point is that we allow this to happen. We can blame them all we want, but we allow it to happen by giving them all this power in the first place. Like way before, when there's little children, instead of telling them go back and work harder, we just gave them trophies and then gave them all this power and said, yeah, you're equal, you're the great, you're like the rest of them. And now this is the after effect.
Yeah, you know what? Apology. I'd like to.
Excellent point.
Yeah, I agree, and I'd like to respond to your second point. It's not as easy for people, at least in my opinion. I don't think it's easy just for people to take over the power and do their own stuff, do their right stuff. It's like when you have the media that you know, most people, and let's be real, most people are hive-minded. You know, they don't think individualistically. That's why they watch the media, all those fucking political talk shows like Trevor Noah or this guy on the right, this guy on the left, and they are being influenced by the opinionated media, and it's really hard to, you know, to gather and do something about it, like really.
Yeah, I
It's
have to
really
say,
hard. I don't think anything will happen in our lifetimes. Like the
Yeah.
best we got is like Trump. Like that's it. And even he, in my opinion, I don't think it will be enough. You won't get enough support.
Like
That's the
the
thing
problem
anyway.
is when you start treating other people, the minute you start treating other people's opinions like their character flaws, like no matter what, it's like they get offended that you might take a different stance. That's what it's all about. It's
Mhm.
you should be able to have it. You know what I mean? You don't think, but the fact that they're actually getting physically violent this is no small thing. This is a bad situation happening. And like you said, they're making themselves look like donkeys. They really are. I've had friends who are my age, 50 years old, lifelong Democrats who are straight up saying, because of these millennials, I'm done. I'm voting fucking Republican. So they're pushing people right into the right.
all right,
Their
let me just say
behavior.
this. Let me bring up a little balance to a little sanity to the conversation. If I'm, as you all know, I'm living in Canada here, so I wouldn't have been able to vote in the U.S. election. Let me just say that I would have voted for Hillary because I would have loved to have seen the first woman president, and I think you're all sexist bigots for not supporting
I
the
think
left.
BDA is playing the he's playing the safe route because you got to understand he's in Canada.
Yeah.
That's well. Listen,
Listen,
You
all I'm
can't
saying
say
right
certain
now,
things over there.
if Trump did the shit that fucking Obama did, everything he does because he's adversely against with the press. But listen, Obama is straight responsible for ISIS. So there's tens of thousands of murdered people because that jackass did everything his advisors told him not to do. He did, and we ended up with ISIS. For everything, his foreign policy sucked. Obamacare is just destroyed the social fabric of the insurance. Like 20 years is going to be no more Social Security. Everything, he's going to go down as one of the worst presidents. But you know what? And then worst of all, tell me right now, and answer me if I'm wrong. You tell me. Are race relations right now worse now or before he was president?
I was just
It's worse now. Worse now.
So did he remember when I'm sorry, but he ran on the ticket. He was bridging the gap. This was it. Now America was going to come together. Once he realized that he was terrible at being a president, at the end of his second term, he started playing the race card, and it was just this fucking shit. He's anti-Jewish. It's just, I don't like him, and I voted for the prick too. But that's
Yeah.
what it is.
You know what? The thing is, from an outsider's perspective, I don't live in America. I'm not an American citizen. But the thing is, that I read about Obama, and you know, again, I'm not an American citizen, so I may not know these things. But I've read that in some kind of an article that, like Jimmy said before, the race relations during the Obama's administrations got way worse. That the country got divided racially way more than it used to be. And it's like, you know, because when I was a smaller kid, in 2008 when Obama was elected, it's like I've seen his election day, and it's all those black people crying and hollering and cheering for him. And it's like, yeah, it's gonna be better now, you know. People are gonna unite, but it's the opposite actually.
I think Obama had the perfect, and I agree with what Pavel's saying because you don't have to be from America to obviously be an observer of what you just mentioned, right? And because I
Yeah.
see the same thing too. I thought that Obama had the perfect opportunity to, especially with like the black community and people who the brown race, whatever, right? To say, look, I am the perfect example that if you don't make excuses for yourself, right? You stop crying the victim card, stop trying to win the award for the biggest victim, you can become president. That's it. Right? Just say that. Look at me. I'm here. I made it.
He did the polar opposite.
But he did
the
total
opposite.
Listen,
no sitting president ever talked so much about murdered youth. How many times did he go on after a black person was shot, either by police or some incidents, that he would talk about the murder of black youth, murder of black youth? What famous incident was right after there was a black kid shot, I believe, in San Francisco. A white kid, it happened in court, the final sentence, he was murdered. 19-year-old on-roll student was just gunned down by a black thug, a 19-year-old too, but arrested like 20-something times. And on the way out of court, the family of the murder victim was crying and like sitting in the pew there, man, in the back of the court. The black family walked by, spit on him, and said, "We fucking hate you," because their son just got life without parole. And the president night went on and talked about a murdered black child. And his own press, because there's a book being read some excerpts out of it. Some of his press people tell him, "Listen, you can't always," and he got on this kick. And I'm telling you, he did it. He drove it home that, I mean, do you ever hear him talking about, black on white, violence? Just go yourself right now. Try to go on Google later and look up statistics, government statistics. They haven't run them in like 10 years. And I'm going to sound racist. I'm 50 years old. Suck my balls. You are far more likely to get fucked up and robbed by a black person if you're white than a white person robbing black people. And fucking tiptoe around it because I'm going to microaggression somebody. Fuck you.
No,
I've done my time. Wait a minute. It is what it is.
Wait a minute. I don't have a problem like this topic. This is a very sensitive topic, and I don't understand why it is. Right? I don't understand why observing and pointing out that there's a car crash makes me a bad person. Right? Look, black people. You're a bad person. You feel like a bad person. That's all. Black people. Remember that. And Latinos, blacks and Latinos know this. We know this. That we are more likely to get killed by one of each other, okay, than any other race. That's just a fact.
Are you saying that as a Mexican, I'm more likely to kill you than, let's say,
but look, my point is this. They don't
recognize more likely to kill or BDA.
Oh, man, come on.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Mexicans are they're a little above Puerto Ricans when it comes to that.
Right. Well, listen.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm taking a poke at you. That's all.
I don't know how we...
Look.
Yeah, go ahead. One last thing. We do have to go.
My point is this. My point is this. I'm sorry, BDA. My point is that it's simple. Look, when you make excuses for anybody, like a child, right? I have kids. If I say, look, if I rationalize everything my kids do and blame it on somebody else, how do you think they're going to turn out when they get older? They'll never learn their lesson. Their behaviors is going to get worse as they grow up to be big physical men or women, right? Like, because I have a daughter too. They're just going to be worse as they get older. It's a built-in excuse. It's the built-in excuse to fail. Excuse. Listen, stop. You know why I'm not down with Black Lives Matter? Because Black Lives Matter don't protest when other blacks kill blacks. They don't do it. Even the most heinous ones, they don't do it. I'm talking about where a little kid gets killed by accident. They don't protest that. But God forbid, Tyrone, who's been in jail 50 times,
now wait a minute,
gets killed by a cop. Okay, they want to protest that. And
recognize. Can I tell you the reason why?
I am telling the truth about that. Okay,
all right, hold on.
That's not over exaggerating.
I gotta tell you something. Hold on. Apology. We have to go. And the internet. I'm looking at the connection here from the stream. It's starting to go red, meaning somebody's trying to shut us down. I think you guys have rattled.
Are you serious?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that it's because of that reason.
I'm like, what?
No, but I don't know why it's going red. It might be. I don't know. But and by the way, just one last thing. When people say Obama was the first black president, come on. He's just as white as Andrew Ward. He used that white privilege to pave his way to the White House. Come on, that's not. Man. He used his white privilege. Come on, he used his white privilege, and I don't appreciate as a semi-black man. I don't appreciate that. So let's just leave it at that. Now listen, thank you guys for joining us. It was a pretty riveting podcast. We started talking boxing, then we started talking about how to rob people of their purses full of money, their Gucci purses. We talked a little bit about that rapper that got killed, Frank Warren's bullet dodging abilities, and then in the end we started talking politics. So anything goes here at BDA Boxing. That's the way it goes, man. There's no set rules, and we go where the flow takes us. So again, I want to thank.
That's why we love it.
Was that?
That's why we love it.
Well, I hope you guys love it as much as I do. I want to thank Recognize. I want to thank Stu. I want to thank Pavel. I want to thank Apology Man. I want to thank Three Piece, aka Jimmy. Bucho was here earlier as well. And guys, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the Kavaliauskas fight against Abreu on ESPN. That's going to be a good one.
I definitely want to see that fight. I like that Kavaliauskas guy, whatever, from Lithuania.
Yeah, he's going to be. He puts on a good show. And Abreu, he's hard hitting and he comes forward. So that's going to be a nice little fight. The UFC card is going to be good as well. And of course, next week we have.
Is that a pay-per-view?
No. Abreu versus.
No, the MMA.
Oh yeah, that's pay-per-view.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's
pay-per-view. All right, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
No, don't worry about it. It's a good question. Yes, it is pay-per-view. They had some problems as well with the card because the undercard it was a great fight between Max Holloway and Brian Ortega, but then Holloway during the lead up to the fight started showing signs of a concussion. He was slurring his words. He was having vision problems, so they had to pull him out of the fight. God knows what he went through during training. And of course, we'll be back later this week.
Diuretics.
Oh yeah, maybe that's the it depletes the brain.
That's a side effect. When you're on diuretics, man, you get blurry and dizzy and shit. And maybe they were going to test him, and he just said he was sick. I don't know, but I've experienced that with diuretics.
Shit, that's
some side effects.
What a pain in the ass that must be. That's why they should just fight at their weight, man. But anyway, that's a conversation for another time. We will be back sometime later this week to talk about the return of Manny Pacquiao against Lucas Matisse. That fight, nobody was even sure if it was actually going to happen, but apparently, finally, they've been able to iron out.
So it's on that fight, right? That's a done deal. They're gonna fight.
Yeah, it's a done deal. Apparently, you never know though. You never know with
boxing.
If
it doesn't go down, they'll lose. I think they're already invested like 30-something million. I read.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that's that's fucking out there. That's boxing for you, man. That's boxing for you. Also, on the week after that, we have Jaime Munguia taking on Liam Smith, and in the undercard, Alberto Machado takes on Rafael Mensah. Also that day, the much anticipated Alexander Usyk versus Murat Gassiev final for the Undisputed Cruiserweight Championship.
Nice.
It's going to be taking place in Moscow. That's a can't miss fight right there. And when is
it? When is it, BDA?
July the 21st.
21st, okay. Yeah.
21st of July.
Where's the video on that BDA?
We're trying to get back to the.
No, I know you're busy doing the summer and whatnot, but I just want to let you know I really enjoy your work, bro. I look forward to them. I'm actually bummed out when fights happen. You don't make them. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, we're trying
to
work
around. Get a lot of information from your videos.
We're trying to figure something out with if we're gonna go back to the videos or not, because again, there's a whole copyright issue and all that. Sometimes they take them down. Sometimes
is that what it is?
Sometimes, yeah. It's kind of hard.
Oh, okay.
The PBC are not. The PBC, they're notorious for not wanting certain fights. Like, for example, certain Jarrett Hurd fights, you can't find them on YouTube at all. They pull them down right away. I don't know why they don't want him. And it's all publicity.
Well, I think that's his people, isn't it? I think
must
that's the individual people. I think that'd be him.
I mean, that's their prerogative,
people,
but
probably.
that's their prerogative. But it's great publicity if you have fights on YouTube because people get to know them, people get to watch them. I mean, I don't understand exactly what. There's no other way to get the fights. You can't buy them at the video store or anything, so I don't understand why they don't want them. But anyway, they're paying for it. It's their business. Also, on August the 4th, the much anticipated Billy Dib versus Tevin Farmer fight. No, I'm kidding. Sergey Kovalev versus later Alvarez. That's going to be taking place. Bivol versus Isaac.
That's this month, right?
That's in August.
August.
Beginning of August, yeah. Kovalev versus Alvarez. Bivol versus Chilemba. Pretty good fight right there.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another one you gotta watch out for. Jesus Rojas taking on Joseph Diaz Jr. Joseph Diaz Jr. coming back after falling short against Gary Russell Jr. Let me tell you something. This Jesus Rojas is Puerto Rican. He's the one that fought Jorge Arce a couple of years ago, and it ended up being a no contest, I think. But he's one of the toughest guys out there. He's underrated. He really is. He also. What's that?
What's the kid's name?
Jesus Rojas.
Ah,
He also fought that guy that one that knocked out Montiel, the Mexican guy. What's his name?
The one that knocked out Montiel.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Shit. The only one that I know that knocked him out off the top of my head is Nonito.
I'm looking it up. Oh, he's the Jesus Rojas fought
like a mini Caesar.
Jorge Lara. He fought Rojas fought Jorge Lara, and Lara started off pretty well the first 3 rounds, and then Rojas just came on strong. That's what he does. He takes the first couple of rounds off, and then he just starts coming on strong. And that fight ended up being a technical draw. This Rojas guy, I'm telling you, watch out for him. He's strong. He's underrated. He's had bad luck.
Puerto Rican Olympic? Was he the Olympic kid from Puerto Rico?
No? I don't know if he was an Olympian.
Why he's strong?
Was that?
Because he's Puerto Rican.
Oh, come on. I knew you were going to go there. But now, Rojas didn't go to the Olympics, man. He had a...
No, it wasn't okay. I had the wrong guy.
He had an amateur record of only 25 fights, or 25 wins, rather. But you watch his fights on YouTube, man. This guy is strong. Strong. And I'm not sure if Joseph Diaz beats him. That's how good Rojas is.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah. So anyway, those are the fights that are coming up. I want to thank everybody for coming here and joining us. Guys, I appreciate you always coming here. Conversations go by fast. I can't believe we went for 3 hours, almost 3.5 hours, man. Jeez. So thanks again.
We're the best. BDA crew is the best.
That's right.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
You too,
tomorrow.
I'm not entirely sure. I have a bit of a busy schedule these past few days, especially with the humidity here in Canada. Oof, it would have been I would have been stuck in a furnace here making that video, making podcast for 3 hours. But we'll try to come back with something definitely during the week.
Doing the podcast.
Yeah, like you said, recognize. Last week I was sweating my ass off while doing the show. They're like, okay, you guys. So what's the next subject? Like, nah, fuck that. But yeah, I always appreciate you guys coming here and making this an interesting show. It wouldn't be the same without you. So thanks again.
Peace, brothers.
Yeah, peace, man. Take care and enjoy the fights. Take it easy, Pavel. An apology. I also want to thank everybody in the chat room. But before we do that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the downloadable podcast on Spreaker. Don't forget to make small donations via the Super Chat feature and our Patreon page. All right. My God. And I want to thank Canelo. I want to thank Shepherd of Sons, Mr. Coxey, Chris Gonzalez. King Bucho was in the chat room as well. Pavel was in the chat room as well. Fight Scout, Overhand, Evan Fields, aka Evander Holyfield, Mustache Cash Stash, Brandon White, Rod T. Davis, 100% X, Sakib Rakif, Kiwi Boxing, Alan Don Mireki. You guys know who you are. You make this show the show that it is, one of the best shows, I would argue, on YouTube. And I would argue that all night if it came to that. So thanks again, guys, for joining us. We'll try to come back with another episode during the week, maybe even tomorrow. No promises. Not that much going on in boxing right now, but we will cover the Pacquiao versus Matisse fight. I want to get people's predictions on that because it is an interesting fight. Overhand says hot stuff. No, what are they talking about? Boxing Legends TV had legal issues. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You don't know, man. You just don't know. So, guys, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you in the next one, folks. Enjoy the fights and take care.